Just last night, glasses were raised to celebrate the end of a career. Sure, he was only a B-rank hunter, so the crowd was small. Just the real friends. They toasted with the nest egg he'd scraped together over 20 years of blood, sweat, and raids. Property deed in his pocket, cash in the bank. He was all set to live out his days in peace. But fate had a nasty plot twist waiting. Eyes snap open. Familiar ceiling. Too familiar. It's the student dorms from 2 decades ago. He grabs his phone, heart pounding. The date stares back. 2018. He hurls the phone across the room. This has to be a sick joke. He screams at the walls, mind reeling. Why now? Why here? He was 3 years away from total freedom. Why drag him back to the starting line? The injustice of it all makes him want to tear the room apart. Head in hands, spiraling. What did I do to deserve this? Then, a glint catches his eye. The watch. The one young Chul gave him. It traveled back with him. Flashback to Jun's voice, dropping to a whisper. This isn't just jewelry. It's rare. Rumor says it's a relic from the Byron continent, tied to the legendary mage Tittle. Did this thing pull the trigger on his time travel? He remembers studying it right before sleep took him last night. Suddenly, banging on the door shatters his train of thought. Someone is screaming outside. Aggressive. Entitled. Lim's memory jogs. It's the neighbor from hell. The landlord's brat son. Guy thinks owning the building makes him king. Karaoke all night, booze flowing, and always coming to shake Lim down for cash. I know you're in there, Lim. The threat hangs in the air. He's going to kick the door down. Just thinking about this clown makes Lim's blood boil. Lim throws the door open, a dangerous smile playing on his lips. What took you so long? The brat sneers. You having fun in there? Lim scans him. Hunter analysis mode engaged. Expensive threads, jacket made from genuine monster leather. The kid starts whining about psychological damage from Lim's noise. Claims he almost called the cops but decided to be merciful to a young student. Pay up for my suffering. And we're good. Then his greedy eyes lock onto Lim's watch. That looks pricey. Hand it over. And we're even. He reaches out. Big mistake. Lim swats the hand away instantly. Lim's palm connects with the kid's face crack. Nosebleed instant. Before the brat can react, Lim grabs his hair and introduces his face to a knee. Hard. You like preying on the weak? Lim asks, voice cold. It's not enough payback for years of torment, but it'll do for today. He decides to let him live. Consider us even. Lim announces he's moving out. As he walks away, the pieces of the timeline start clicking together. This specific date. The construction site accident. This was the day his knee got shattered, ruining his life before it began. He checks his leg. No pain. Perfect condition. He's been controlling mana for 20 years. Relearning the basics will be a walk in the park. Problem is, this body is weak, malnourished, no muscle mass. How did I even function like this? His stomach growls on cue. He needs food, and he needs it now. He scans the area. Nothing but construction zones. And then it hits him. This is why nobody saw the lesser gate open. It was a massacre in the original timeline. Sudden scream pierces the air. Space distorts right in front of him. Panic ensues, civilians scattering like ants. From the rift, a speckled red beast charges out, razor-sharp fangs dripping with saliva. An old man yells at him to run. But Lim freezes not in fear, but recognition. He's back in the nightmare. He needs a weapon. Eyes dart around there, a claw hammer on the ground. He scoops it up and heads straight for the danger zone. A little girl is cornered, sobbing for her dad. The wolf lunges, jaws ready to snap. Lim moves. He dives, shielding her with his own body. Run to your father. Go. The wolves shift their target to him. He doesn't hesitate. Hammer meets wolf skull with a sickening crunch. The beast whines. A second one tries to flank him. Reflexes kick in. He delivers a low blow to the jaw, stunning it. He follows up, putting his back into the swing. Impact! The wolf flies several meters back, but mid-fight, his stomach growls again. Seriously? I'm starving. He looks at the pack. The wolves pause, sensing a shift. Lim isn't looking at them like a victim. You guys look plump. You know, he grins. Wolf meat actually tastes pretty good. The hunter has become the chef. Hunger is a great motivator. He's lost 20 years of leveling, sure, but these knees are brand new. No pain, just potential. He ducks a bite, vaults over the beast, and brings his heel down axe kick. One down, but another takes its place instantly. Is there a factory making these things? The hammer is chipping. It won't last. He needs something harder. He looks at his wrist. The watch. He wraps his fist and connects. Boom. The wolf drops. The watch doesn't even have a scratch. It's indestructible. How many left? 10. He can do this. Sirens wail in the distance. The police are finally here. Saved by the bell. Lim checks his gear, his jacket is ripped. First time wearing this. Damn it. He's genuinely annoyed about the clothes. An officer approaches, breathless. You saved those people. We need your info for the reward. Lim Do-jun. Unemployed. He pauses. And not registered as a superhuman yet. Considering I only woke up, he means awakened a few hours ago. He scribbles down his number, just send the check. Dropping a casual excuse about urgent business, Lim immediately vanished into the crowd while the recruiter, desperate to keep him, screamed for him to wait. The man still needed to conduct the interview, but as Lim created distance, the recruiter consoled himself. He had a name and a number, that would have to suffice. Meanwhile, the streets were already buzzing. Whispers spread like wildfire about a fresh, awakened, barely 20 years old. The Phoenix Guild was the first to blow up his phone. But Lim ignored the chaos to focus on devouring a bowl of beef soup. One taste and his eyes lit up, pure, savory perfection. But his meal was cut short as his phone started vibrating off the table. The hero smirked. Word traveled fast in this city. It was a headhunter's market, and everyone was desperate to hire superhumans. They had seen his combat footage. For a rookie, he was lethal. Lim ran the numbers in his head. If the year was 2018, then it had been 2 years since the last gate opened. That was the turning point, when mono-wielding superhumans began displacing the police and military as the new law of the land. It was the era of the guilds. Every time a new powerhouse emerged, it triggered a bidding war. And this was exactly the chaotic timeline Lim had returned to. Rogue superhumans were running wild, and humanity still lacked a concrete protocol for the monster outbreaks. It was the Wild West out here. With the 6 disasters looming on the horizon, Lim knew the stakes. His game plan was simple: leverage his future knowledge to secure a comfortable retirement in exactly 3 years. And he was going to make sure that retirement was luxurious. Notification chimes played a constant symphony on his phone, a melody he found surprisingly pleasant. A shadow fell over his table. A stranger leaned in, asking if he was Lim Do-jun. The hero confirmed his identity between spoonfuls and coolly asked for a name. The man straightened his tie. Kim Gil-soo, manager for the prestigious ruling family guild. He had analyzed the viral footage of Lim slaughtering those monsters. Kim was ready to sign him on the spot, checkbook in hand, provided Lim was still a free agent. But before the pitch could land, a sharp voice cut through the noise. A woman strode into the room, eyes locked on the viral star. She noted that Lim Do-jun looked even more impressive in the flesh than he did on the screen. Then a representative from the Warrior Guild shouldered his way in. The floodgates opened, and suddenly, Lim's quiet lunch was a crowded summit of desperate recruiters. Arguments broke out as they fought over the prospect. Lim slammed his spoon down, demanding silence. One more word, he warned, and no amount of money would buy his signature. He suggested a change of scenery. Once they relocated to a private room, Lim set the tone immediately. He was not going to waste his time, or theirs. He cut to the chase. What was the signing bonus? Kim Gil-soo tried to play hardball, claiming the contract details were confidential trade secrets. He questioned why Lim would not hear their pitches individually. Lim, casually dissecting a slice of cake, looked Kim dead in the eye. You are with the ruling family guild, right? Kim puffed up, boasting of their 18-month tradition of excellence. Lim simply wiped his mouth and wished him a safe trip home. Kim froze. Rejection? Just like that? Why would he board a sinking ship? Lim knew their management was incompetent and, more importantly, he knew they were destined to be swallowed up by a merger very soon. Lim turned to the room, checking his watch for the next bidder. Desperate, a junior associate behind Kim screamed out a number. 1 billion won. That broke the dam. Managers began shouting figures, driving the price higher and higher. Lim sipped his tea, unfazed, silently wondering what the Black Hounds would put on the table. He remembered the Hounds fondly from his previous timeline. Suddenly, a voice cut through the chaos. 2 billion. The manager swore it was the ceiling for salary. She promised top-tier benefits and lucrative mining rights, claiming no one could match her offer. It was the woman from earlier. She introduced herself as Bake, manager of the White House Guild. They were a startup, barely established on the scene, but she vowed they would crack the top 3 within 3 years. Lim smirked. That explained her aggression. He dismissed the room, asking everyone but Miss Bake to leave. He told the rejects to leave their cards at the door. Now, alone, Bake confessed she had analyzed his combat footage on a loop during the drive over. His technique was flawless, terrifyingly so, for someone who was a civilian just 24 hours ago. Lim appreciated her thoroughness. She had done her homework. It was a classy way to admit she had background checked him. Bake was convinced he was either a combat prodigy or had rolled incredible base stats upon awakening. She wanted to build the future of the White House on his shoulders. As Lim scanned the paperwork, he chuckled in his past life. He never would have dreamed of a deal this sweet. He asked if she was open to amendments. Baek watched intently as the pen scratched across the paper, adding clauses to her standard contract. Her eyes widened. She accused him of joking, but the hero's face was stone cold. "Read it," he insisted. "I am not playing games." There, in black and white, a 4-day work week, strict 9 to 5 hours, and the absolute right to refuse long-term missions. Her professional mask cracked. This had to be a prank, but Lim did not blink. Take it or leave it. She demanded to know where a rookie got the nerve. Lim simply promised she would not regret it. Abruptly, Baek stood up. She needed to run this by legal and would return in a few days. Then, a shift in tone, she suggested that, next time, they skip the coffee and go straight for drinks. Lim remained impassive. He knew better than to get entangled. Nothing good would come from mixing business with pleasure. She assumed he was ignorant of her lineage, unaware that he knew exactly who her father, the guildmaster, was. Lim finished his tea. It was time to make his awakening official. The scene shifts to the Korean branch of the Disaster Management Center. The clerk asked if he was ready to process his registration immediately. At the superhuman support desk, a flustered rookie explained that her supervisor was out. She was visibly overwhelmed, admitting she was not authorized to handle this alone. Lim checked the time. He could not wait around. He pressed her to find a workaround. Nervous, she grabbed the phone to dial her superior. Good. Lim needed this red tape cut so he could vanish. The girl stammered into the receiver, explaining the situation. "There is a young man here to register," she reported. She turned to Lim, asking for his classification. He shrugged. Pure physical enhancement. No spells, no special skills. It was a bold-faced lie. In this era, magic was considered a myth, and unless he demonstrated it, they would never know. And in this timeline, Lim had decided to keep his true power in the shadows. "All right, let's see what you've got." The proctor leads him straight to the weight room and points to a loaded barbell. "Lift that." Lim grips the cold steel. One hand. With a casual grunt, he hoists it overhead like it's made of styrofoam. The proctor's jaw hits the floor. You're actually a superhuman, 200 kilograms, just dangling in the air." Lim shifts his weight, feeling a bit awkward under her stare. "Is this enough? Do you believe me now?" She stammers, apologizing profusely, and tells him to put it down. She hands over a temporary superhuman ID card, her hands trembling slightly. "We'll contact you the moment the official license is printed." Lim nods his thanks and turns to leave. Bad timing. He almost collides with a man entering the lobby. Lim freezes. It's the head of Kai Hyun. Horror washes over him. He has to dodge this guy. Ju Sang-wook, the face of superhuman support. Nothing but trouble follows that man. Lim ducks his head, swearing to himself that he'll avoid this building for the rest of his life. Ju Sang-wook pauses, eyeing the retreating figure. "Is that the new recruit?" The receptionist nods enthusiastically. "Yes, sir. That's Lim D, the one I told you about on the phone." A dark smile plays on Ju's lips. "Ah, the supernova." The scene shifts dramatically. We find ourselves in the pollution control area, a restricted zone, rotting away, abandoned to the monsters. But Lim sees potential where others see ruin. In exactly 1 year, the dimensional gate rips open here. The Gaia continent, a realm of knights and magic, will collide with Earth, a collision of civilizations. And of all the gates opening across Korea, the very first one will spawn right here. Lim grins. As soon as that contract money hits his account, he's buying this wasteland. When that gate opens, he won't just be a hunter, he'll be a tycoon. He's planning his monster-hunting empire when a scream shatters his focus. "Get lost or I'll kill you," a desperate shout. Lim pauses. He cocks his head. That voice, she's screaming in the native tongue of Gaia. "One step closer, and you're dead." The warnings are frantic. Lim knows that dialect. He shouldn't get involved, but curiosity wins. He sprints toward the noise. Time to go dark. Lim activates the concealment skill. His body fades, merging perfectly with the shadows. This was the skill that made him a ghost, perfect for recon, espionage, and wet work. He moves silently through the debris, checking his 6. No tails. Good. The hero reaches the clearing and assesses the threat. One small child standing her ground against 3 grown men. The girl is cornered, shouting threats she can't back up. She tries to weave mana into a fireball, sparks flying from her fingertips, but the spell fizzles out completely. The thugs aren't scared, they're impressed. "Did you see that?" One laughs. "That's raw talent. They see $signs. A girl who speaks Gaia and wields magic? She's a refugee. And clearly, she didn't find the nice kind of humans. She found the wolves." The leader spreads his hands, smiling a fake, predatory smile. Give it up, kid. Come with us. We'll get you some hot food. Lim zooms in on the man's forearm. A tattoo. The red snake. Criminal scum. Traffickers. Lim wonders if they're expanding their business to otherworldly refugees now. Lim checks his reserves. Mana is low. He can't maintain the cloak forever. He drops concealment. No police around. No witnesses. Is she worth the trouble? Lim decides yes. Knife in hand. He launches himself from the shadows. It's over in a heartbeat. He lunges, burying the blade in the leader's spine. Before the others can scream, Lim spins 2 quick slashes across their throats. They drop. The girl just stares, frozen in shock. Lim clears his throat, wiping the blood from his blade. You're from the Gaia continent, right? He asks in her language. She flinches. You speak our tongue? Asterisk gurgle. Asterisk. Her stomach betrays her fear. Lim chuckles. Hungry? How does meat sound? A bit later, the tension breaks. She thanks him quietly for saving her life. I'll pay you back, she vows. Someday. Lim waves it off. How much can you eat? He offers to buy pork, the good stuff. She tilts her head, confused by the word pork. Lim changes tactics. Did you come through the dimensional gate alone? She nods slowly. All alone. Where's your home? Where were you before this? Lim presses, but the walls go up. She shakes her head. She's not talking. How old are you? Silence. Lim sighs. Interrogation failed. They sit in the dirt, the silence stretching until she whispers, please. Help me. I don't know this world, she says, voice trembling. I can't speak to anyone. My mana is drained. I have nowhere to go. I can use fire magic. She offers weakly. Sort of. Lim rubs his temples. Look, I'm busy. I'm not running a daycare here. Give me one good reason to keep you around. But he looks at her and relents. 1 month, Lim states. You can stay for 1 month. I'll teach you the language and how to survive here. But there's a price. You handle the chores, cooking, cleaning, errands. Deal? Her face lights up like a beacon. Really? I can stay? Lim already regrets this. I'm Lily, she beams. Lily. Lim tests the name. It feels heavy. Familiar. Why does that ring a bell? He watches her. Fire magic. Red hair. Lily. The gears in his head spin. And then times click, asterisk. Cold dread washes over him. The timeline flashes before his eyes. 10 years from now, a monster burns half of Seoul to the ground. The Fire Witch. One of the 6 disasters. This isn't just a girl. She's a ticking time bomb. She looks exactly like the catastrophe that ends the city. In the original history, the Syndicate kidnapped a child, tortured her, and forged her into a living weapon. Lim realizes he's standing at the crossroads of fate. If he raises her, maybe he stops the apocalypse. Jump cut. They're strolling through a bustling market. Special dinner tonight, Lim announces. He walks up to a butcher shop. Got any predator fillets? He asks. The butcher gives him a look. Since the first gate opened, monster meat has been flooding the market. It's cheap right now, supply is high, and people are too scared to eat it. They don't know what Lim knows. This stuff is packed with mana. It's a superfood. In the future, this meat is worth its weight in gold. Right now, it's practically free. Lim loads up. Lily watches him, wide-eyed. Now, clothes, Lim says, pointing to a rack. Pick something. Lily doesn't hesitate. She grabs a white and red outfit, clutching it to her chest. This one, she squeals. Lim decides to play by his own rules. We see Lily rocking a bright tracksuit, and he jokes that it's the perfect camouflage for wandering through the slums. After buying a stack of matching outfits, the duo returns to base. Lim announces the dinner menu, his signature mana-infused cuisine. She eyes the spread suspiciously, asking if they are seriously going to eat this. Lim counters, claiming that true power food doesn't always look pretty. One sniff changes everything, it actually smells divine. Lim produces a hidden treasure, a whole chicken he was saving, but he decides they should feast now. Lily grabs a drumstick and tears into it. Her eyes widen in pure bliss. She screams that it's the absolute best thing she has ever tasted. How is this real? She cries, swearing a solemn oath to eat nothing but poultry from now on. Lim chuckles, warning her to finish up before he dumps it into the soup. He samples the soup himself. It's survivable. Barely. Internally, he's screaming one more spoonful of this sludge might actually kill him. The regret hits hard. If he hadn't walked out of that restaurant, he'd be dining on 5-star delicacies right now. The frustration is agonizing. My tongue. I can't feel my tongue, Lily complains. Lim shushes her. Mealtime is over. He stands up, issuing commands. Do the dishes. Read a book. Do not disturb me. Lim retreats into his mind, beginning his deep meditation. He initiates the Great Sea of Mind. It's a high-tier art that amplifies magical potency and control, a technique he mastered in his past life. His mana reserves are skyrocketing faster than ever before. In the past, no amount of grinding gave these results. It must be the high-grade nutrition. He feels his dantian swelling with power. The formula is clear. Consume mana-rich food, master the mental arts, and he will surpass his former prime. But the body has limits. His stomach roars in protest. Lily perks up instantly. Hungry? Want more chicken? He turns with a pained smile. Back to the wretched soup. Lily shrieks in horror. 2 days of culinary torture later, Lim assesses his growth. The results are terrifyingly good for such a short window of time. At this level, he could even handle a treasure hunt. Suddenly, his phone buzzes. It's Bake. She sounds hurt, claiming she waited for his call. Do you even care how I'm doing? She asks. Lim, having completely forgotten she existed, smoothly lies that he's just been swamped with business. He pivots to business. How's the contract renegotiation? The line goes dead silent. That silence tells him everything he needs to know. She admits defeat. She couldn't sway the guildmaster. The deal is, the boss will only hire Lim if he proves he's not all talk via a practical test. She apologizes profusely, calling the request insulting. Give me a few days, she begs. I'll fix this. I'll do it. Lim cuts in immediately. But I have a condition. Cut to the imposing headquarters of the White House Guild. Lim strolls in with Lily. When Bake questions the +1, Lim improvises. Stepsister, just got back from overseas, doesn't speak a word of Korean. He claims she has separation anxiety due to unforeseen circumstances. Meanwhile, Lily is stunned by Bake's beauty and whispers to Lim in their secret tongue. Lim translates, she's the one giving us money. Lily's logic is simple. Money equals chicken. Therefore, this woman is a saint. Bake assures him the guild respects privacy. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts. The guildmaster of the White House has arrived. Bake Jang-sung. He plays the polite host, apologizing that business kept him from visiting Lim personally. Lim waves it off, calling this a nice field trip. Jang cuts to the chase. I hear you want to double the contract signing bonus if you pass my test. Are you ready to back that up? Jang asks. Suddenly, a crushing pressure erupts from the guildmaster, filling the room. Are you truly worth that price? Lim analyzes the aura. The man has no formal martial arts or magic training, yet he projects this overwhelming force through raw mana alone. A monster in human skin. Any other awakened would be trembling on their knees right now, silenced by fear. But Lim doesn't flinch. He casually flares his own mana, wrapping himself in a protective sphere. I'll show you exactly what I'm worth. Zhang's eyes widen. The guildmaster spins around, barking orders at Yang Wei. Rewrite it, triple the original offer. And add a clause, 20 billion won if he passes the test right now. Lim blinks. He asked for double the original 2 billion. This guy is going all in. 6 billion base, plus a 20 billion bonus? Lim smirks. You've got quite the temper, don't you? Let's do this. We cut to the underground arena. The terms are set. Defeat 3 guild members to pass. This is sparring, Zhang warns. Keep the bloodshed to a minimum. The first challenger steps up. Huang Zhang-hyuk. Don't let the babyface fool you, he's an elite member of the First Association. Yang Wei asks for his weapon of choice. Lim unstraps his wristwatch. This will do. The disrespect is palpable. Huang is furious. Does this rookie think this is a game? The signal is given. Huang decides he's not just going to win, he's going to cripple this arrogant upstart. Lim studies him. He recognizes the kid from a magazine. A speedster type, his ability accelerates his velocity the longer he stays in motion. The strategy is simple. Put him down before he hits terminal velocity. Suddenly, Huang blurs, circling Lim at breakneck speed. Lim braces for a frontal assault, but Huang keeps circling. The crowd whispers, defeating an elite speedster is impossible for a newbie. Bake watches, biting her lip. Game over, Huang shouts, launching a high-speed strike at Lim's blind spot. But Lim isn't blind. The moment you attack is the moment you're vulnerable. Asterisk, crack. Asterisk, Lim smashes the wristwatch directly into the speedster's face. He analyzed the trajectory perfectly. Huang never stood a chance. Ken's own velocity was his downfall. Lily cheered for the victory, and while Yunhui stood there in shock, only Chan remained completely stone-faced. Who's next? Lim demanded. Chan stepped forward, praising the young hero's incredible performance. Lim, however, just wanted to know if Huang Zhan-hyuk was going to survive. He'll live, Chan assured him. The medical team was already on it. Ken would be back on his feet after a couple of days of bed rest. Chan commended Lim for keeping his power in check. Is that what it looked like? Lim asked innocently. Internally, though, he knew the truth if he hadn't held back. that kid's head would have gone flying off his shoulders. That level of restraint didn't go unnoticed. Lim did the mental math. He had already met the requirements, guaranteeing him a cool $6 billion under the current contract. But he wasn't done yet. He turned his gaze to the two remaining opponents. "So," he called out, "are we going to have some fun until the test is over?" Lily asked why he was smiling like that. Lim's expression hardened instantly. He lectured her, explaining that in a fight, you must always maintain dominance over the situation. The scene shifts to the second sparring venue, a training ground set deep within an artificial forest. Yang Wei explained the layout. The White House Guild consists of 2 separate associations, each comprised of 6 elite teams. Each team holds 5 members. She pointed out their next opponent, the leader of the first association's 6th team, a man named Yoon Hun. He was the main tank of the White House, known simply as the Buffalo. He claimed he was just looking for a good spar, but Lim sensed the truth. This guy was one of the ones leaking genuine killing intent earlier. Lim announced he was ready. Yoon nodded. The moment the bell rang, Lim launched himself forward, aiming for a quick strike, but Yoon instantly intercepted the blow with his massive shield. The Buffalo slashed out with his sword, but Lim weaved out of range. Yoon saw an opening. He decided to drop his defense and go on the offensive. But Lim was one step ahead. He slipped behind the big man, executing the Falcon's Claws technique. Yoon was baffled. Had this kid mastered martial arts before his awakening? Yoon swung his blade in a wide arc, but Lim evaded the strike effortlessly. He slammed his back into Yoon's chest, the classic Iron Mountain tackle. Yoon knew the impact was coming, but he still went flying across the arena. The force was immense, yet Lim frowned. Something felt off. He realized Yoon's durability was no joke. "You're stronger than you look," Yoon grunted. Lim had planned to keep his true capabilities hidden until the final round, but this old fox was forcing him to show his hand. Yoon then made an offer. He wanted Lim to join his personal team, believing they would make a powerful combination. "Who gets to decide that?" Lim asked. "The winner takes all," Yoon replied, glancing at Chan for confirmation. The guildmaster nodded. Lim accepted the terms with a dangerous condition of his own. "If I beat the Buffalo," Lim declared, "I take over as head of the team." The spectators watching from the VIP box began to murmur. This was turning into a high-stakes gamble. Absolute nonsense for a rookie test. Lim laid it out. He would form his own squad, recruit his own members, and operate independently on missions. Originally, he planned to work his way up to this demand slowly after proving his worth, but now, there was no point in waiting. Chan agreed to the terms. However, the guildmaster added, "If you lose, I keep your signing bonus, and the contract duration doubles." Lim didn't hesitate. "Deal," Yoon sneered, asking if the kid was really that confident. Lim cut to the chase, asking why Yoon was so obsessed with Yoon. He knew the truth. The Buffalo wanted to kill him out of pure jealousy because Yoon had shown interest in the rookie. "Do you really think winning here gives you the right to look down on me?" Lim asked. He knew Yoon's future history. The man was destined to become a controversial figure, suffer endless humiliations, and eventually get kicked out of the guild entirely. "At the very least," Lim taunted, "you'll make a decent janitor." That snapped the Buffalo's patience. Yoon roared in rage, but Lim just smirked. "Allow me to show you what a true commander looks like." The Buffalo finally entered his berserk state Buffalo mode. Activated by rage, his mana surged, and his physical stats skyrocketed. The massive tank charged like a freight train. Lim activated the Great Sea of Mind technique, channeling energy into a lightning fist. As he swung, he offered one last piece of advice. "You'd better block this with your shield." Yoon instinctively listened, raising his defense. The fist connected. The shield shattered instantly. Chan and Yoon watched in stunned silence. The rookie had actually taken down Yoon Hun. Lim collapsed onto the ground, exhaling sharply. "Making money is way too hard," he complained, realizing just how weak his current body still was. He couldn't believe a single lightning fist had drained him this much. He immediately began cycling his mana to recover. He would need every ounce of strength for the next round. As he meditated, Yoon approached, offering her congratulations. "Hello, leader of Team 7, she teased. Lim smiled. The title had a nice ring to it. But his mind was already back on the contract. Defeating 2 opponents added another billion to his payout. Why stop there? He figured he might as well aim for the full 20 billion. "Who's next?" Lim asked. The guildmaster stepped forward. "That would be me." Chan admitted he never expected Lim to defeat Commander Yoon. Smirking, the guildmaster declared he had no choice but to handle the final round personally. For the first time, Lim felt a spike of concern. Fight this monster? In his current state? "I forfeit," Lim announced abruptly. Chan blinked, completely blindsided. demanding to know why the kid was quitting now. Desperate to see Lim's limits, Chan started bidding. 20 billion for just 5 minutes in the ring, he offered. No, 3 billion for every 3 minutes you last, but Lim shook his head. I'm done. Yunhui stepped in, reminding the guildmaster that it was time to finalize the paperwork. The deal was done. Lim signed the contract. These terms are incredibly generous, Yunhui noted. Lim nodded, expressing his hope for a productive partnership. So, she asked, how do you plan to fill your team roster? Gradually, Lim replied. Tell me, am I allowed to recruit freelancers? She confirmed it was possible, but couldn't figure out who he had in mind. I know someone, Lim explained. Unaffiliated, incredibly talented, and completely free. He turned to Lily. Hey. She looked up, confused. Make the biggest flame you can, Lim ordered. I'm hungry, she whined. Do it, and I'll buy you 3 whole chickens. Her eyes lit up. Promised, she shouted, sprinting to the center. She conjured a massive fireball, larger than her own body, hovering ominously in the air. Yunhui stared in awe. Is your little sister a monster too? She is, Lim confirmed. That's why she's my first recruit. He pointed at the flame. It wasn't scorching the ground around her. Perfect mana control, he noted. It was terrifying, really, considering he had only been teaching her for a few days. In the previous timeline, there was a reason she was known as a walking calamity. Lim attempts to negotiate his contract, opening with a bid of 3 billion won, but Lily cuts him off cold. She only has one question. Where is the chicken? A mountain of poultry later, Lily is satisfied, and she officially joins the 7th White House team. The final contract fee settles at a cool 5 billion. The White House isn't just a name. It's a fortress, boasting enough staff to maintain massive training halls, luxury living quarters, and high-tech facilities. As they tour the complex, Yunhui watches Lim closely, expecting the rookie to be flawed by their state-of-the-art control rooms, but Lim's expression remains flat. He's unimpressed. Compared to the advanced technology he's seen in the future, this gear is practically from the Stone Age, but he nods politely to keep up appearances. Yunhui beams. Mentioning their on-site development workshop, she promises that whatever specialized gear Lim needs, they can fabricate it within a week. Lim declines the custom order. He has his own resources for that, but he agrees to grab a few standard blades from the armory to tide him over. With the basic gear secured, he figures he's done for the day, and Yunhui confirms that once he meets the head of the department, he's free to go. But the moment isn't to be. The headman sprints toward them, panic written on his face, waving an urgent dispatch from the control room. The situation is dire, every other squad is deployed, and the headman awkwardly apologizes, forced to beg the rookie to take a mission on his very first day. Lim sighs, mourning his plans for an early clock out, and resigns himself to the work. Fine, he asks, point me to the fight. Moments later, Lim stands at ground zero. A massive portal hovers 10 meters in the air, vomiting a ceaseless stream of gigantic, grotesque slugs. The scene is chaotic. Civilians are trapped in puddles of sticky green slime, and while the first wave of monsters is down, the danger is far from over. Lim questions the necessity of this mess, only to be given a headache of an objective: capture 3 intact samples of these volatile new monsters. He suppresses a groan. He knows these creatures from the future: stinking, wretched slugs that are physically weak but unstable. They are walking biological bombs that explode on impact, releasing a foul sludge. Lily gags, overwhelmed by the stench. Lim immediately seals his olfactory senses with mana and offers to teach Lily the technique, warning her it takes years of practice to master. Before he can finish the sentence, Lily shouts that she's done it. She's completely blocked the smell. She's a prodigy, leaving Lim no time to explain further. He scans the battlefield, realizing why the previous team failed. These monsters are tricky. Too much mana makes them detonate instantly. Conversely, physical attacks without mana bounce right off them. Lim sprints into action, spotting a stray slug in a tree. He kicks the creature airborne, then executes Tai using his open palm to spin the slug with such violent velocity that the centrifugal force knocks it unconscious. 1 sample secured. Lily watches with starry eyes, begging to learn the spinning move, but Lim smirks. Sure, for a tuition fee of 100 billion. She recoils, shouting that she'd never pay, that she could buy a mountain of chicken for that money. Ignoring her outrage, Lim bags the 3 required samples and hands them over to the collection team. Job done, he's ready to leave. Yunhui is stunned by his efficiency and asks if he's nervous about his first assignment, but Lim brushes it off. This is child's play to him. They reach the extraction point, finding that the other guilds have cleared the remaining fodder. Suddenly, a group of 3 men approaches Lim. The leader, dressed in red, eyes Lim with suspicion. He claims he's never seen this face before and asks if the rumor about a new hire is true. He notices Lim's rank insignia, a commander's badge, and sneers, asking if the White House is so desperate they're putting rookies in charge. Then, realization hits him. He recognizes the technique Lim used. It's Jang So-hyun from the Black Hound Guild, Lim's former boss from a past life. Lim cuts the small talk and asks what he wants. Sok admits his team failed to get samples because the slugs kept exploding. He demands Lim share his catch. Lim flatly refuses, which sends Sok into a rage. How dare this rookie speak to him without honorifics? The tension spikes as the captain of the Warrior Guild steps in, suggesting Sok calm down, while positioning himself to block Lim's path. Another figure, the captain from the ruling family guild, joins the blockade, patronizing Lim about camaraderie and helping seniors on the battlefield. Yunwei steps up, shouting at Lim not to surrender the loot, and threatening to file an official complaint against these bullies. Lim ignores her. He's played this game before and knows that if he refuses, they'll simply attack him to take the bag by force. He tosses the bag at their feet, and as they grin in victory, Lim steps forward and casually sits directly on top of the sack. "Go ahead," he challenges, his voice cold. "Take it if you can." The guild leaders are frozen, unsure how to handle his arrogance. While they hesitate, Lim whispers to Lily, ordering her to set the perimeter on fire at his signal. She asks excitedly if she can burn the people too. No. Lim corrects her, wanting to avoid a bureaucratic nightmare. He won't let her become a disaster. Just a distraction. Sok screams that he's going to teach the rookie a lesson, but the ground shakes, the portal pulses violently, and a massive boss slug drags itself out. The other hunters panic, screaming at Lim to stay back while they claim the glory. Lim shrugs, grabbing his bag and walking toward the car with Lily. But the battle goes south immediately. The giant slug snatches the hunters with lightning speed, its tentacles impervious to their blades. Yunwei urges Lim to intervene and steal the kill, but Lim just watches from the sidelines. "Relax," he says. "They can't win. The elites are falling apart. Their armor dissolves under the monster's acidic slime, and Sok screams for the tanks to retreat and switch to ranged attacks. Panic sets in as they realize this beast is nothing like the smaller ones. Lily looks at Lim, bored. How long are we going to watch them get crushed? Lim held his ground while the others scattered. In the chaos, one man was sprinting away from the beast Wang Guohu of the Black Hound Guild. They called him Muddy, a fitting name for a coward. His squad was paralyzed with fear. Their weapons had dissolved into acid, and that monstrosity was slithering straight for them. Wang scrambled backward, screaming for a rescue. "Take me with you," he begged. But his teammates roared back, "Use your ability, you idiot." It was too late. The tentacles had already snatched Vaughn. Vaughn shrieked as he was hoisted into the air, while Wang whimpered that he was powerless to stop it. Lim stepped forward, his eyes cold. "And you people call yourselves his comrades?" With a single fluid motion, Lim slashed the tentacle, severing the limb and shielding Vaughn with his own body. The hero turned his gaze toward the fleeing Wang. "That is not how you use your power," Lim stated flatly. "If you want to learn what true strength is, find me when the dust settles." Lim turned to his partner. Lily started up. Without hesitation, the girl unleashed her power. The other superhumans watched in stunned silence. They couldn't comprehend the sheer magnitude of the flames erupting from such a small girl. Suddenly, Yang Wei's voice crackled over the comms, screaming at Lim. "Stop showing off and look at the situation. Support is 5 minutes out," she yelled. "Just wait for backup." Lim did the math. 5 minutes? That was plenty of time to kill the beast and keep all the loot for himself. He made a command decision. The prize belonged to him. "The fire is blinding, the drone feeds," Yang Wei complained, her voice rising in panic. "Move the fire away. Forget the loot, Lim. It is too dangerous." But Lim remained calm amidst the inferno. "Relax," he replied. "I will take this thing down and return without a scratch." He knew exactly what he was dealing with. This was a brutal class of monster, documented in the restricted archives. But Lim knew the winning strategy for every emergency. Fire was its kryptonite. The heat had already made the beast sluggish. Lim charged forward. "Cover me, Lily." He knew the tentacles were regenerating at an accelerated rate. He needed sustained damage. Lim darted around the colossus, drawing its eye before signaling the girl. Asterisk. Whoosh. Asterisk. Lily bathed the regenerating limbs in fresh fire. "Perfect," Lim shouted. "Keep the pressure on. Sever them all." Just as the manuals predicted, once the tentacles were gone, the monster retreated into its indestructible shell to heal, sealing the passage. Lily jogged up to him. "It turtled up," she said nervously. "Now what?" Lim smirked. "Now, we use the gear we salvaged from the car." The shell was fortress-grade armor, blunt force was useless. He needed precision. Lim grabbed a heavy metal stake and drove it into a hairline fracture on the shell. Asterisk, clang. Asterisk, he hammered the steel home. The onlookers watched in confusion, wondering why the hero was doing construction work in the middle of a battle. Meanwhile, Wang Guohu watched. Lim's lecture about ability usage echoed in his mind. Vaughn watched too, wondering if Lim was truly as capable as he seemed. Lim drove stake after stake into the shell's surface. Final stage, he muttered to himself. The conductors are in place. Now, aim for the center. He decided to unleash the strongest strike in his current arsenal, Great Sea of Mind technique. Lim's fist became a blur of lightning. Asterisk, crack, asterisk. The electricity surged from his fist, arcing between the metal stakes. The monster was cooked inside its own armor, the shell shattering from the shockwave. But the backlash hit Lim hard. Lim collapsed, groaning as the residual current fried his nerves. He realized too late that using that technique twice in his weakened state was a massive gamble. His body was shutting down. "Lim!" Lily cried, rushing to his side. "Are you okay? Did you just electrocute yourself?" "I thought." "We got it," Lim wheezed. "Can I drop the firewall?" Lily asked. "No." Lim stopped her. "Hold it a little longer. We did the work, we keep the prize," he insisted. "That monster meat is incredibly soft and rich in mana nutrients. We are not sharing." They frantically stuffed the prime cuts into their bags. Lily was dreaming of snail chicken, but Lim corrected her. "This is for a premium mana ragu." Finally, the bags were full. "That's enough," Lim said. Suddenly, his earpiece buzzed. It was Bang Woo-hyuk, captain of the second team. "We received the distress call. We are inbound to assist," the captain announced. "Wait," Lim shouted. "Don't come in until I drop the fire." Lim scrambled. He hadn't secured the most important piece of loot yet. "Is it just the two of you against a slug class?" Ben asked, concerned. "I heard it is your first day, rookie. Do not overdo it." Lim quickly stashed the last item. "Okay, Lily," he whispered. "Drop the wall." The flames vanished, revealing the carnage to the arriving squad. Their jaws dropped. "Did the commander take it out?" one soldier asked. "Nope." Lim dusted off his hands. "Fought for my life. Got lucky." But Siak looked skeptical. He couldn't fathom how a rookie achieved what an entire squad couldn't. "Can I leave the cleanup to you, Commander?" Lim asked casually. Ben nodded, stunned. "Go home, son. If you are hurt, report to headquarters for treatment," Ben added. Lim froze. He remembered Yang Wei's terrifying threat about what would happen if he got injured. "Actually," Lim said quickly, "I think I will just go rest." Darkness fell over the city. "I am sleepy," Lily yawned, rubbing her stomach. "You did good today, kid." Lim smiled. He set down a massive feast. Lily's eyes went wide. "Real meat? I'm not dreaming," she cheered. "Let's go snail hunting every single day." Lim cracked a cold beer, took a long swig, and let out a satisfied curse. "Damn, this is worth living for." Lily watched him closely. A second later, a high-pitched voice echoed him. "Damn!" Lim choked on his drink. He realized he needed to watch his language around the kid. "Hey, that is a bad word," he scolded. "No using that." Lily tilted her head innocently. "Why? Why do you say bad words when you eat chicken?" she asked. Lim sighed, defeated. Fast forward to the next morning. The Great Sea of Mind technique was taking its toll. Lim felt like death. "Never again," he groaned. "That move is for emergencies only." Lim knows the golden rule. Never mix a hangover with business. He wakes up to a screen flooded with missed calls from manager Yoon-hee. He barely answers before she starts screaming on the other end. Yoon-hee is furious about him going off the grid. Lim plays the victim card immediately, groaning that his muscles are screaming in agony from the previous battle. He lies through his teeth, claiming he's physically wrecked and was just trying to sleep it off. Yoon-hee's tone instantly shifts from anger to concern, apologizing for waking the wounded hero. Lim sighs, saying he's still rough, and asks what she needs. Yoon-hee explains she is aggressively recruiting for Lim's private strike team and needs his input on the roster. Lim lists the essentials: field support, combat medics, a tactical operator to run comms, and the unsung hero's secretaries to handle the mountain of paperwork. He knows these support roles are the backbone of any successful guild operations. However, he tells Yoon-hee to trust her gut and pick whoever she wants. "You have excellent taste," he tells her smoothly. "After all, you were smart enough to hire me." She laughs at the compliment, the tension completely gone. Yoon-hee agrees to call back after lunch. Before hanging up, Lim makes one specific request. He wants Wang Guohu from the Black Hound Guild on his squad. He tells her to make that happen, then dials the big boss. Guildmaster Jung picks up and immediately orders Lim to take a mandatory 3-day vacation. Lim tries to protest, claiming he's just a little tired, but Jang shuts him down. Yunhee already snitched on his condition. The master lays down the law. No missions until the full team is assembled. Lim weighs his options and decides a few days off won't kill him. Jang tells him to actually relax this time and stop carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. The master calls Lim the future of their guild and suggests a sparring match once he's fully healed. Lim pretends the signal is breaking up and turns his attention to his assistant. He tells the chief he's clocking out. Lily comes sprinting into the room, eyes sparkling, asking if they're getting fried chicken. Lim smirks. He made something much better. He presents a bubbling pot, explaining, this isn't just food, it's high-performance fuel. Fresh ingredients, a silky texture, and the secret ingredient, the heart of a mana snail. Lim introduces it as the warrior's vitality soup. The liquid is a terrifying shade of purple, but he insists it's incredibly healthy. Lily looks at the bowl in horror. Suddenly, Lily claims she's actually still full from all the chicken she ate yesterday. Lim feigns disappointment as he starts slurping down the sludge, praising its rich flavor. Lily watches him eat with such gusto that she gets curious. She asks if it's really that good. Lim says he'll sacrifice himself and eat her portion too, which immediately triggers her fear of missing out. He reminds her she didn't want it, but she grabs a spoon. Lily takes one bite and her soul leaves her body. She realizes she was much happier yesterday. Lim tells her to stop being so dramatic and appreciate the nutrition. Lily declares she has lost all trust in him. To stop the whining, Lim promises premium fried pork belly for dinner. Her ears perk up. She asks what kind. Lim tells her it's the high-end stuff, costing way more than standard chicken. It's a flavor worth dying for. He wonders where she learned to be such a food critic. He lectures her that to appreciate the delicious stuff, she needs to balance her diet with his healthy swamp soup first. Vacation is over quickly. Lim announces they are going treasure hunting. The monsters that survived the first gate break have established territories nearby. One group, the orcs, has formed a massive tribe. They are sitting on a dimensional relic, and the heroes are currently prowling the edge of their domain. Lim scans the area with binoculars. He spots the prize. The relic is hidden inside a stone statue in the center of the camp. In the original timeline, an expedition team swept in and claimed it. But this time, Lim plans to snatch it before history repeats itself. He analyzes the battlefield. There are at least 200 orcs. Even with his body recovered by the central crystal, a frontal assault is suicide. The numbers are too high for a solo brawl. Lim outlines the plan. He infiltrates the perimeter, and Lily waits for his command to light the distraction fire. Lily asks for the signal. Lim points to a torch on the far side. When that light goes out, he says, "You set fire to the entrance." He warns her sternly. If she gets distracted and misses the signal, the relic is gone forever. Lim activates his concealment skill and vanishes into the shadows. Lily cloaks herself as well. Lim knows that unless a boss-level entity shows up, regular mobs won't be able to detect his presence. He creeps closer. The statue is guarded by 10 orcs, easy pickings. Lim draws his knife, ready to dispatch them quietly. Then he freezes. He spots the chieftain, a mutant orc. This is the monster that single-handedly wrecked the expedition team in the future. Lim knows he can't fight that thing yet. He sticks to the stealth plan. Lim picks up a rock and hurls it with precision. It strikes the torch, knocking it to the ground. Darkness falls. Lily sees the signal. The chieftain barks orders, confused by the sudden darkness. Lim grins. Chaos is his ladder. He moves to sprint toward the statue while they are distracted. But suddenly, the impossible happens. A massive shadow looms behind him. An orc is standing right there, staring at him. Lim is shocked. The beast smelled him through the concealment. He underestimated the senses of a mutant strain. His cover is completely blown. Lim abandons the relic and bolts. He sprints past the flames and confused orcs, realizing that stealth is useless now. He deactivates the skill to save mana. As he tears through the forest, Lily asks over the comms if he was seen. Lim screams for her to run. The orc horde roars in the distance behind them. They finally stop near some ancient ruins, lungs burning. Lim calculates they didn't run far, but the adrenaline has wiped them out. Lily stares at the ruins and says she knows this place. Lim asks if she's sure. Lily points to a cave entrance. She says that's where she emerged when she first crossed the gate. That's where the strange men tried to grab her. Lim realizes she's talking about the kidnappers from before. She calls them uncles, but Lim knows she means the Red Snake Guild. He puts the pieces together. This cave is a Red Snake hideout. He never guessed a criminal syndicate would set up base right next to an orc tribe. Lim pats Lily on the head, praising her sharp memory. This is a golden opportunity. If he plays this right, he can use the villains against the monsters. He gestures to the cave. Lily hesitates, terrified of going back in. Lim nods, understanding. He points to a thick bush and tells her to hide there and stay completely silent. If things go wrong, she is to contact him immediately. Lim steps into the darkness of the cave alone. He reactivates concealment. He knows the red snake isn't just a small gang, he's walking into the lion's den. The guards posted outside confirmed this was the stronghold. But Lim had to wonder, why nest right next to an orc settlement? Slipping inside, he spotted figures in hazmat suits. They were busy processing something, but the hero couldn't get a clear look initially. Then he saw masked men, handling piles of fine white powder. Lim froze. He knew exactly what that was. Snake, a potent narcotic, brewed from otherworldly flora. In the past, it had swept through cities, driving addicts into violent madness before their hearts simply gave out. Police had spent years chasing ghosts, never finding the source. Who would have guessed they were cooking it in a monster's den? Deeper in, a warden screamed at the lab coats to move faster. "Miss Tomorrow's quota and you're all dead," he barked. Lim scanned the perimeter, roughly 100 armed soldiers from the Red Serpent clan, plus 30 chemists cooking the product. By Lim's estimate, there was at least 50 kilograms of pure snake sitting in that room. He couldn't calculate the exact street value, but it was easily worth a few trillion won. The supervisor continued his rant, mentioning that demand had skyrocketed recently, putting a stranglehold on their supply. "We lost a worker yesterday, and production tanked," the man spat. "We need to pick up the slack." Lim listened as the man apologized to a superior, claiming they were working the staff to death. Literally. Lim felt a wave of revulsion. These weren't people. They were parasites feasting on misery. It was time to pull the plug. Suddenly, the cavern plunged into total darkness. Chaos erupted. "What's happening? I can't see a thing. Someone get the backup lights." The gangsters panicked, firing blind questions into the void. Then a terrified voice pierced the confusion. "The snake! It's gone!" While they scrambled, Lim ghosted through the shadows, the stolen crate tucked under his arm, invisible to their eyes. But he wasn't careless. He left a trail on purpose. Bursting out of the cave, he found Lily waiting. "All done?" she chirped. Lim smirked. "Oh no. The party is just getting started. We're playing tag," Lim explained, tightening his grip on the box. "A swarm of angry bad guys is about to come out here. Whatever you do, don't let them grab you." "Sounds like a game," Lily giggled, reaching for the box. "Not a toy," Lim warned, pushing her toward a hiding spot. "Stay down and stay quiet." Just then, the mob burst into the sunlight. "There he is! The hunter!" one shouted. Lim glanced back at Lily's hiding spot one last time to ensure she was safe, then hefted the crate. "Kill him!" Bullets chewed up the dirt around Lim's feet. He sprinted, drawing their fire. It was perfect. They were so focused on the chase, they didn't realize where he was leading them. Lim slammed to a halt right in front of the orc encampment. "Remember me?" he grinned. The orc chieftain roared, alerting the tribe. The Red Serpent thugs skidded to a stop, realizing their mistake too late. "Lily, get clear!" Lim commanded. With a massive heave, he launched the crate of drugs high into the air. "He's lost his mind," a gangster screamed. The orcs looked up, confused by the projectile whistling toward them. The box smashed open at their feet, scattering the precious powder. The gang members froze, weighing their options. "Plan B," the leader shouted. "Slaughter the monsters, recover the snake, then skin the intruder." As the firefight began, Lim triggered his concealment skill and vanished. The canyon echoed with gunfire. The Red Serpent members unleashed a wall of lead, keeping the beasts at bay. Standard orcs fell, unable to close the distance. But one monster didn't stop. A mutant orc, massive and gray-skinned, walked through the barrage, bullets flattening harmlessly against its hide. The gangsters' eyes went wide. "Focus fire on the big gray one," they screamed. It was useless. The mutant closed the gap and crushed a mercenary like a ripe melon. High above on a ridge, Lim and Lily watched the carnage. "Is it over yet?" Lily asked, bored. "I'm hungry." Lim put a finger to his lips. "Patience. Let them thin the herd." "You can't rush a good show," he whispered, eyes scanning the battlefield. He calculated the odds. Asterisk. "Should I wipe up the survivors now?" "No. Wait a little longer." Asterisk. The mutant orc was a wrecking ball, slaughtering the last of the strike team. It raised a blood-soaked weapon to the sky, roaring in victory, until its head suddenly separated from its shoulders. Lim flicked the blood from his blade. "Good work cleaning up the trash," he said to the headless corpse. The massive body hit the ground with a thud. The remaining orcs froze. Their leader was dead. Lim knew the pack mentality. Without the alpha, they were just frightened animals. They would likely scatter or follow whoever killed their chief. Lim ignored them and walked straight to the tribal totem. He raised his hammer and smashed the stone statue to dust. There, amidst the rubble, was the prize, the keeper's bracelet. An artifact that healed the wearer, boosted recovery, and could consume mana to trigger a defensive barrier. The effects doubled if worn as a pair. As Lim slipped it on, the metal shrank to fit his wrist perfectly, and a surge of fresh mana flooded his exhausted reserves. "Shiny!" Lily gasped, eyeing the jewelry. "Is that treasure?" "The best kind," Lim nodded, motioning for her. "Give me your arm." He clasped the second bracelet onto her wrist. Lily blinked, surprised. "Why me?" "It has a shield spell," Lim explained pragmatically. "Plus, it hides you from lower-level detection." Lily's face turned pink. "Look," she whispered. "We have matching bracelets." Lim rolled his eyes. "Don't read into it. Just keep it on." Sentiment aside, Lim knew she was fragile. The bracelet also acted as a tracker. If she ever got lost or taken, he would find her instantly. Lim sacked up the loot, including the mutant's hide high-grade material for armor. "We'll eat soon," he promised, seeing her look. "But I have to head back to the cave." "Why go back to that smelly place?" she complained. "Loose ends," Lim replied ominously. "I'll explain later." He pointed to the orc village. "Burn it. Burn everything to ash." "Then we get food?" she negotiated. "If you do a good job, I'll buy you a feast." Her eyes lit up. Lily unleashed hell. "Time to cook," she cackled, throwing torrents of fire onto the huts. Lim watched the destruction, noting that keeping her fed was definitely a matter of national safety. Back inside the drug lab, the few surviving guards opened fire the moment Lim appeared. Bullets ricocheted off a shimmering barrier. Lim tapped his wrist. "See? The shield works." He glanced at Lily. "Feel free to handle this however you want." "Okay," Lily grinned. "Shield bash." She projected the barrier forward like a battering ram, smashing the gunmen into the wall. "Talented kid," Lim muttered, impressed. The last gangster crawled on the floor, begging, "Please, I'll tell you everything." The Red Serpent hierarchy. Our contacts. Boring. Lim cut him off. "Just tell me where the safe is." We cut to an hour later, the heroes walking away as the cave collapses in a fiery explosion. Not a bad haul, Lim thought, patting the bag of cash and artifacts. He looked at the inferno behind them. "All right, little pyromaniac. Are you done blowing things up for today?" With the shield down, Lily pointed out the obvious. The group could scatter and run. Lim cut her off immediately. "Run? Run where?" There was nowhere left to go. Roughly 35 Red Snake members and drug manufacturers remained. Lim weighed his options. He wasn't going to slaughter them, but he sure as hell wasn't letting them walk away scotangent-free. They were complicit in creating the Serpent, after all. Lim singled one member out, dubbing him Red Bean Rice Cake, and barked a command, "Follow me." The thug made the mistake of asking why he was being named after a snack. Asterisk. Smack. Asterisk. A harsh slap to the face silenced him. Lim roared that the red snakes were soft, just like sticky rice cakes. Lim directed Lily to drag the new rice cake to their tent. As for the rest, they were marching straight to the security post to surrender. Predictably, they started whining, begging to be let go. "Shut it," Lim ordered. Did they honestly think their operation was legal? If they were confused, he offered to beat the reality into them until they understood. That shut them up fast. The Red Snake members agreed to surrender. When the guards arrived, they were dumbstruck. They couldn't believe a massive snake processing factory, and that many criminals had been hiding right inside the restricted zone. Lim knew the drill. The gang would be hauled off to the police. They would likely snitch on Lim and Lily, but Lim just had to hope the authorities wouldn't take the word of drug dealers seriously. More importantly, he needed to secure a connection with Kim Soo-ho. Establishing a bond with him in this timeline was non-negotiable. Shifting gears, Lim looked at Lily. She'd done well today. She deserved a reward, something genuinely delicious. Back at the tent, Lily was already throwing a fit, pounding the floor and screaming about starvation. Poor Red Bean Rice Cake stood there, completely baffled by the chaos. She wouldn't let up. Minutes later, the mood shifted. Lily looked betrayed. Lim had promised her a meal that rivaled the taste of chicken, and she was waiting. Lim insisted it was a delicacy. Lily argued it smelled like garbage and looked like a disaster. Ignoring her, Lim tossed the ingredients to Red Bean Rice Cake. The thug understood the assignment immediately. "Leave it to me." He whipped up 2 perfectly cooked pork cuts, fried garlic, and seasonal green olives, all wrapped in fresh sesame leaves. A perfect lettuce wrap, designed to be eaten in a single bite. Lily took one chomp and melted it was heaven. But she was eating so fast, food was practically falling out of her mouth. "Chew first, talk later," Lim chided. Lily didn't care. She swore the longer she chewed, the richer the flavor became. Just like that, 4 days of peace flew by. Now, It was time to get back to the grind. Using the payout from his guild contract, Lim purchased the land adjacent to his tent. The seller warned him it was cheap for a reason. Asking if he really needed 10,000 pyong, Lim just shrugged. You never know what the future holds. It turned out bringing red bean rice cake along was a stroke of genius. The guy was already building a log cabin. He accepted his fate. 3 years of construction, cooking, and cleaning. He claimed full responsibility for the labor. In his eyes, Lim had given him a second chance at life, an opportunity to live by the sweat of his brow rather than crime. Lim told him to keep that energy up for the next 3 years. Lily, on the other hand, had completely fallen for him, mostly because the man was a culinary wizard. Of course, there was a catch. Lim had struck specific pressure points on Rice Cake's body. As long as his martial arts remained sealed, escape was physically impossible. He couldn't undo the block himself. Lim's plan was cold but fair. Use him as free labor for 3 years, then hand him a severance package and set him free. We cut to the White House Guild headquarters. Yang Wei announced she'd be stepping in as the temporary assistant for Team 7. Since Lim was a rookie, she claimed he needed a veteran handler. Lim eyed her suspiciously. Was she sure this was temporary, or was she planning to swap someone else in later? Of course, she scoffed. I'm a busy woman. She informed him that his official assignment kicked off tomorrow. For today, his only job was to memorize every detail in the dossier. Lim sighed, instantly regretting not milking his 3 days off a little more. He scanned the mission brief. A gate destruction. Lim pointed out the clause in his contract explicitly stating he wouldn't accept long-term assignments. Yang Wei countered immediately. The request came directly from the government a couple of days ago, and it wasn't optional. With 4 major guilds participating, the government estimated the cleanup would take 3 days tops. Lim's team was the only one with an open slot on the schedule. But Lim knew better than to trust government math. Monster gates fell into 2 categories. Type A. Monsters rush out, you kill them, the gate closes. Simple. Then there was Type B. These gates didn't vanish just because the monsters exited. In fact, sometimes nothing came out at all. To close a Type B, you had to go inside, slaughter the inhabitants, and shatter the core. Lim froze. He recognized this location. It was one of the most catastrophic gates since the first one appeared, the Labyrinth of Fallen Spirits. Before his regression, this place was legendary. Back when he was an instructor, he used this dungeon as a cautionary tale of infamy. If he had attempted this mission in his past life, he would have been dead meat. Yang Wei mentioned they'd recently had friction with one of the other participating guilds. She offered to pass the assignment to someone else, but Lim refused. Team 7 will handle it. She warned him to keep his cool, no matter what happened. Lim smirked, asking if she really thought he was the type to throw a tantrum in the field. You're absolutely capable of that, she deadpanned. Later, as Lim rode to the site, his mind raced. To clear this gate, he needed a tank. A damn good one. Recruiting Wang Guoho was taking longer than expected due to some messy contract termination fees. Lim realized he'd have to personally intervene to reel him in. The car rolled to a stop. The driver hopped out and bowed deeply, respectfully asking Lim to take care of himself inside. Lim told him to drop the formalities. He was just grateful for the ride. The driver smiled, appreciating the rare moment of decency. Yang Wei commented that Lim looked cool back there, but internally, Lim felt awkward. He hated being around honest, kind people. He was much more comfortable around aggressive, rude assholes. You know, like the jerks from the Black Hound Guild he worked with in his previous life. Speak of the devil, they were greeted by Kim Hyun-tae from Black Hound. He introduced his squad. There was Wang Guoho, standing alongside their team captain, Jang Seok-hyun. Lim offered a polite greeting and shook hands. Kim grinned, his eyes sharp. I've heard a lot about you, Lim. The heroes are already seated at the negotiation table. Kim opens the discussion, asking if they are truly serious about taking Wang back. He insists that Wang is a highly valuable asset. This is Kim Hyun-tae, the guildmaster's younger cousin, and the man who handles all the dirty work. Lim knows exactly how this goes. Kim is about to set some outrageous conditions, in exchange for canceling the contract. Yumi tries to be diplomatic, stating that they understand the Black Hound Guild's position on the matter. Junmi starts to mention the $5 billion they prepared for the buyout, but Kim cuts her off instantly. He shakes his head. It isn't $5 billion anymore. He feigns surprise, acting like they should have known. Mr. Wang Guoho renewed his contract this morning. Kim smirks. Under the new terms, the termination fee is now $10 billion. Yunwei is stunned into silence. Kim continues, claiming that if they pay this new amount, they can have Mr. Wang immediately. But Lim sees right through it. Kim is deliberately provoking them to start a fight. Lim also realizes there are likely hidden cameras rolling, waiting to capture any aggression. He stands up abruptly, telling Yunwei it's time to leave. He knows Yunwei is the guildmaster's daughter and is being manipulated. Kim sneers, asking if they're giving up so soon. He turns to Lim, mocking him, saying he thought Lim wanted Wang back desperately, but apparently, he doesn't need him that much. Kim calls out, telling them to let him know if they change their minds. Then, Kim delivers the final insult. He glances at the little girl. She seemed to enjoy the cake, he sneers, but you should take her to the hospital. That cake expired a long time ago. That snaps Lim's patience. He screams, lunging across the table and delivering a thunderous slap across Kim's face. Seok shouts, asking if Lim has lost his mind. But chaos erupts. Seok is terrified, but Lim is consumed by rage. He kicks Kim out of the office, just as guards rush in, brandishing knives. But Lim stands his ground. He warns them coldly. If they want to attack him, they better think twice. Are you sure you're stronger than Jang Soo-kyun? He challenges. Lim declares he is tired of these games. He demands they summon the guild leader immediately. Internally, he figures if they are so eager for him to fall for their provocation, then he'll give them exactly what they asked for. Yunwei whispers that even if Lim is angry, he shouldn't treat them like this, though she can't hide a look of satisfaction. Lim asks if he's imagining things or if she actually looks happy. Suddenly, Lily asks why Lim beat up the people who gave her the cake. Lim reassures her she has nothing to worry about. He tells her gently, just don't eat anything strangers give you next time. He promises that from now on, he'll ask Rice Cake to handle her snacks. Lim suspects they lied about the expired cake just to bait him, seeing as Lily is fine, but it doesn't matter now. He approaches Wang Guoho. He whispers that they will talk later, startling the terrified Wang. Suddenly, the air grows heavy. Lim freezes. Judging by the suffocating murderous energy, the guild leader has arrived. It is the Demon King himself, Kim Tae-jin, one of the first awakened. Jin stares them down, asking if they were the ones who called for him. He claims he is waiting for an explanation. Lim notes that Jin is acting like he doesn't know what happened, even though he was undoubtedly watching everything through the surveillance cameras. Lim confirms they called him and says he wants to explain, but requests the others leave the room first. Jin agrees, noting that Lim is a loyal companion, and that he respects a man ready to take full responsibility. Lim asks Lily to follow Yunwei and wait for him back at headquarters. Lily looks up innocently and asks, "Can I burn this place down?" Lim is horrified. "No, do not burn anything. If you play with fire without permission, you are never getting fried chicken again." Once everyone leaves and they are alone, Lim asks Jin point blank what he wants. Jin replies that since Lim is smart, he'll be direct. He asks if Lim would like to work for him. Lim asks if he means joining the Black Hound Guild. Jin shakes his head. To officially transfer, the termination fee from his current contract would be astronomical. Jin says he isn't asking Lim to leave his guild. He proposes that Lim continue working for the White House Guild, but serve as a mole, occasionally passing information to Jin. Lim clarifies, "So, you want me to spy?" Jin promises the payment will be generous, and suggests Lim read the contract himself. According to Jin, the offer is magnificent. Lim asks calmly what happens if he refuses. Jin's expression darkens. "Then you'll have to pay for the damage you caused here today." Jin adds a chilling threat. "If you push me too far, you might leave this room missing an arm or two." Meanwhile, outside, we see Chan screaming at the guards to return Lim immediately. Chan stands outside the guild, gun in hand, shouting that if Jin doesn't produce Lim in 10 seconds, he is going to break in by force. Chan is counting down when Lim suddenly appears behind him, tapping his shoulder. "What are you doing?" Lim asks. Chan jumps in surprise, stammering that Yunwei said he was trapped. Lim smiles calmly. "I offered them my sincere apologies, and they accepted." He jokes that they seem to be bribed by his overwhelming sincerity. We flash back to the negotiation room, the moment Jin threatened Lim. Lim had asked permission to speak before the guild leader continued, mentioning Jin's relationship with his sister-in-law. Lim asked, what would happen if that relationship became public knowledge? He hinted that, given the nature of Jin's bond with his younger brother's wife, Lim could investigate it himself. Jin was furious, demanding to know how Lim knew. Lim replied that if Jin wanted to keep the secret, he should consider Lim's counteroffer. Lim stated his terms. First, release Wang Guoho immediately, without any termination fee. Second, the price for his silence was written on the paper. Lim slid across the table. Decades ago, Kim Tae-jin had a secret affair with his younger brother's wife. They were eventually caught. The tragedy led the younger brother and his wife to commit suicide, and Jin left the service due to the shock and scandal. Lim knows for a fact that Jin will pay any price to keep this buried. Back in the present, Chan is skeptical. He argues that Jin is as cunning as a fox and would never let them go so easily. He asks Lim to be honest. Did he have to fight his way out? Lim assures the head that violence wasn't the goal. Yunwei scolds Chan, telling him to just be grateful that everyone is safe. Lim notices Lily is quieter than usual. He pats her head, asking if she's okay. Did I scare you? Like I said, we didn't have to solve everything with violence. But Lily just looks up and says, I'm hungry. Yunwei laughs, noting that the environment wasn't exactly favorable, so Lily must just be stress eating. Lim turned to Lily, casually breaking the tension. So, how does chicken for dinner sound? It was a simple question, but beneath it lay a realization. If the guild truly prioritized them, they wouldn't have needed a rescue mission in the first place. Signing with the White House was looking more like a masterstroke every second. Moments later, Wang Guho approached Lim, his head hung low, stumbling through an apology for the previous day's chaos. The headmaster. He practically begged me to renew my contract. Wang stammered, trying to explain. Lim cut him off with a sharp wave of his hand, gesturing for the big man to sit. Forget it. We settled that yesterday. Lim's gaze hardened. From this moment on, you are the main tank of this team, and you will address me as commander. Lim knew the file on Wang Guho. An orphan, raised in the system, shaped by loneliness. That isolation had made him introverted and cold, earning him nothing but scorn in the Black Hound Guild, where they treated him like trash. In the original timeline, Wang was one of the first to fall when the disasters began. Wang looked baffled. Commander, you're serious? Why pick an untalented tank like me? Lim didn't blink. Because I need you, Wang. Specifically you. But you don't understand. Wang pressed, desperate to confess his flaws. My specialty is freezer, Lim snapped, silencing him instantly. I don't need to hear it. I already know. Lim knew the future. He knew about GM Minchol, the moving fortress, a hero who would command respect worldwide 10 years from now. Minchol was a petrification expert exactly like Wang. Lim remembered seeing the stone skin Minchol created back when he was just a rookie. But looking at Wang now, Lim could see the difference. Wang's raw physical constitution was leagues ahead. Having inspected him up close, Lim was certain Wang's petrification potential wasn't just good, it was superior to the future legends. Listen to me, Lim declared. In 6 months, you will be the #1 tank in Seoul. Wang stared at him, jaw slack with shock. That's impossible, Lim smirked. You call yourself untalented. I'm telling you that you're denying a gift that others would kill for. Wang was visibly shaken, emotion welling up in his eyes. Suddenly, Rice Cake bustled in, announcing the preparation was complete. Perfect timing, Lim said, his voice dropping to a command. Bring it here. The bowl placed before them contained a thick, vile soup brewed from monster organs and core essence. 3 bowls each, Lim ordered, his tone leaving no room for argument. We have 4 days before we hit the labyrinth of fallen spirits. Flash forward 2 days. The team stood on the hunting grounds. Lim was locked in combat with a beast resembling a massive white lion, his movements a blur of calculated violence. Wang! Lim roared over the creature's snarls. You are a tank! Stop flinching! He pointed at the beast. Get in close. Immobilize it. Now. Wang had forced down 3 bowls of monarch soup and endured 5 specialized training courses. The petrification wasn't fully stabilized, but he didn't hesitate. He grabbed the monster, locking it down, agony ripping through his body. Hold it, Lim shouted. 1 more minute. If you let go, that's 6 bowls of monarch soup for dinner. The threat was more effective than any pep talk. The mere thought of that sludge terrified Wang more than death. He grit his teeth, determined to break his limits rather than taste that soup again. The logic of petrification was brutal. The more the user is broken, the harder they become when they reform. Lim was essentially forging Wang like steel. Satisfied, Lim turned to Lily. You're up. No way. Lily crossed her arms, pouting. I'm sick of this gross food every single day, and you still haven't bought me that chicken. Dinner tonight, Lim promised smoothly. Fried chicken. All you can eat. The switch flipped instantly. Lily's eyes blazed with motivation as she screamed at Wang. Move it, big guy. You're in my line of fire. Lily unleashed a torrent of flame, incinerating the monster in a single, devastating breath. Wang watched from the ground, awestruck. 1 blow. She ended it in 1 blow. Why do you call him Hagu? Lim asked as the smoke cleared. Lily shrugged. You started it, didn't you? Lim ignored the jab and radioed the dispatcher. Status report. Any other targets? Lim already knew the answer. 8 white tigers had exited the gate 20 minutes ago. They needed at least 1 more kill to secure the necessary samples. 1 target active, Yunwei's voice crackled over the comms. It's moving, about 7 hours out, but Lim, the warrior guild is closer. They're intercepting. Distance check. Lim barked. How close? Heroes are 2 kilometers out, Yunwei replied. Warrior Guild is only 1 kilometer away. I'm going ahead, Lim said, his mana flaring. Follow at your own pace. Lily, take care of Hagu. Before they could nod, Lim vanished, tearing across the terrain with supernatural speed. The mana-rich diet and hellish training were paying off. He wasn't back to his pre-rebirth peak yet, but he was fast. Fast enough to blur past the scenery. He shot past a Warrior Guild scout. Hey, that white tiger is ours, the scout yelled, stunned. The rival guild was already chanting spells, preparing to bombard the beast. Lim narrowed his eyes. If they landed the first hit, claiming the loot would be a diplomatic nightmare. He triggered his skill. Shadow body technique. Crescent moon. He launched himself into the air, descending like a guillotine. With a single, precise strike, Lim severed the monster's life force. The Warrior Guild members stood frozen, their spells dying on their lips, utterly shocked. Target down, hunt over, Lim reported calmly. The dispatcher paused. But, the map says you just arrived. Doesn't matter, Lim replied. Scan for stragglers. There was one in the south, the dispatcher said, her voice trembling slightly. But, it looks like your team has already cleared that one too. Lily's voice piped up over the channel. Did I cook it right this time? Hey Lim, does this mean double chicken tonight? Lim sighed. Only if the sample is intact. All monsters confirmed eliminated, the dispatcher announced. Gate destroyed, situation stable. Lim nodded to himself. Good work, let's wrap this up. Back at the rendezvous point, Lim addressed Team 7. Solid performance today. Just then, a man in a medical gown approached, carrying a heavy medical case. Any injuries, Commander? The man asked. I'm fine, Lim said. Check Lily's arm. She needs a bandage. This was Chin-il, head of the medical support team. Behind him was Chin-nam, documenting everything with a camera, and Chin-sala, the tech wizard. Yunwei had pulled off a miracle, hiring the famous Chin triplets for the 7th team's support staff. Each played a critical role in their respective fields. How Yunwei secured them remained a mystery, but Lim wasn't complaining. We haven't worked together long, Lim addressed them, so forgive me if I'm brief with introductions. I know superhumans can be a pain to work with, Lim continued, his tone genuine. But stick with us through this next dungeon run, and I promise the bonuses will be worth it. Plus extra time off. I'm counting on you, Lim finished with a bow. The triplets looked at each other, pleasantly surprised. A superhuman leader who treated staff like human beings? He's actually the best, one of them whispered, as the camera kept rolling. Lim knew the game. Survive the labyrinth of fallen spirits, and the guild would have no choice but to shower them with rewards. Of course, survival meant enduring a proportionate amount of hell, but he kept those details to himself. You're quite popular, sir, the driver noted as they loaded up. I know what it's like on the other side, Lim replied, staring out the window. In his past life, he was the one taking orders, swallowing his pride. He had left the guild system because he was sick of the toxicity. But things would be different for his team. They wouldn't have to suffer like he did. As they rolled toward the White House headquarters, Yunwei smiled. Lim didn't just know how to fight, he knew how to lead. He is barely 20 years old. The woman stares, asking if Lim is secretly living a second life to be this skilled. Lim tells her to cut the jokes. He suggests they get down to business. Yunwei agrees they have a mountain of topics to cover and hands him a comprehensive list of necessary supplies. She confirms the special custom gear Lim ordered from the workshop will be ready in 2 days. Lim grins, pleased, and praises her as the most capable assistant of Team 7. Heroes are always short on time, yet Yunwei has prepared everything to perfection. As Lim flips through the dossier, his eyes land on a potential recruit. Yunwei admits the intel was scarce. She had nothing to go on but a name, making the search incredibly difficult. But she struck gold online, a video showcasing items crafted by the applicant. Lim nods. This is exactly the kind of talent he has been hunting for. Jiang Yongshin, the only superhuman in all of Korea specializing in crafting. Lim demands his location immediately, deciding to pay him a visit right now. Flashback to earlier. Lily begs Lim not to forget her 4 servings of boneless chicken and large French fries. Lim swears to keep his promise, but only if she follows his instructions exactly as taught. Deal made. The team arrives at their destination. A humble barbershop. Lim comments on the mountain of toys scattered around. The owner explains her son loves tinkering with things. Meanwhile, Lily slumps on the couch, complaining she is bored. Lim signals her to stay quiet. Suddenly, an item catches Lily's eye. Lim snaps, shouting at her not to touch anything, warning her she might break it. She grabs the toy anyway. It is the chicken she loves so much. The woman smiles, revealing her son crafted it himself. She tells Lily to keep it if she likes it. Lim apologizes profusely, explaining that his little cousin is a total imp. The woman waves it off. They have plenty of toys. Lim asks how old the boy is. She answers he is 13. Jang, the barber's son, has savant syndrome. Savant syndrome is a rare condition where individuals with developmental disabilities display genius-level abilities in specific fields. Because of this, his social skills are non-existent, and he avoids people. Lim realizes he cannot just recruit him like a normal superhuman. He needs to approach Jang naturally. Step 1. Become a regular at the barbershop. The mother mentions that even now, Jang is likely crafting another invention in the storeroom. Lim expresses concern that their loud conversation might distract him. The woman shakes her head. There is nothing to worry about. She claims Jang is too focused to notice. But Lim calculates. They are not whispering. If the boy is truly a superhuman, his senses should pick them up. Lim wonders if he should investigate. Suddenly, Jang steps out, asking his mother if everything is all right. The woman is shocked he never comes out on his own. Lim smiles. Jang came out immediately, which means he sensed the mana. He is definitely a superhuman. Lily realizes it is time to execute Operation Chicken. She dashes up to him, brandishing the chicken toy. She asks if he made it, calling the toy insanely cute, and demands to know his secret. Jang blinks, asking if she is really curious. Lily gushes, calling his work incredible. Confused and shy, Jang mumbles that it is nothing special. Lim notes that Lily's Korean is still a bit shaky, but the craving for 4 servings of fried chicken is a powerful motivator. Jang suddenly opens up, saying he can make many things, and asks if she wants to see. Lily nods enthusiastically. Jang's mother gasps, unable to believe her son is actually conversing with a stranger. Lim stands by, watching the scene unfold. Lim wonders if Jang has developed a crush on Lily. Whatever the reason, he accepts the win. They have secured Jang, a genius who will create equipment worth hundreds of billions. Jang joins the guild the very next day, and immediately crafts their battle uniforms. A few days later, Lim inspects the gear, confirming that the Uruk chieftain's skin was the perfect material. He asks Lily how she likes her new fit. She beams, reporting that the clothes are stylish and incredibly comfortable. She even points out the custom drawings of chicken and pizza embroidered on the fabric. Wang asks about his uniform, but Lim shuts him down. He doesn't need one. Lim has accomplished the impossible in record time. Yunwei reports that the support team has finished preparations. It is time to move out immediately. Yunwei smiles, teasing Lim about his new hairstyle, noting it must be high maintenance. Lim thinks back to the haircut he got. It is no surprise that barbershop had 0 customers. Scene shift to the dungeon gate. Yunwei is furious, screaming at the gatekeeper. It turns out another guild entered ahead of them. The guard stammers that he let them in because the queue order changed and he thought the heroes would be late. Yunwei demands to know who authorized that. This was supposed to be a joint task for 4 guilds. It is painfully obvious the other 3 guilds are trying to screw the heroes over. Lim intervenes. A confrontation now won't change anything. He decides they will proceed exactly as planned. Yunwei worries that with the others ahead, there will be no loot left for them. She hangs her head, apologizing for not preparing better. Lim tells her not to stress. He suggests they might find something even more valuable that the others missed. The team piles into the car and drives in. Lim notes the other guilds have indeed swept the entrance clean. 2 hours pass inside the labyrinth of fallen spirits. The twins are huddled in the back of the vehicle. Lim had offered them a ride, but they missed their opening. Originally, this spirit maze was B rank, but the difficulty spiked after several failed attempts to close the dungeon. It has evolved into a worst-case scenario. Suddenly, Lim's expression darkens. He slams the brakes and orders everyone to halt. He steps out. Something is out there. He commands Wang to hold position and protect the vehicles. This dungeon is called the Labyrinth of Fallen Spirits for a reason. It twists those who enter into mindless monsters. The twins stare into the darkness, terrified and confused. Lim squints at the approaching figures. Judging by their uniforms, they are members of the Red Shark Guild. Lim deduces they were bitten by zombies. The monsters here have fangs sharp enough to tear through reinforced battle suits. It must have happened when they let their guard down. They likely got separated from their main force. Lim counts them. Fortunately, there are only a few. Lim orders Wang to step up and show the results of his training. Wang looks terrified, but Lim delivers a chilling warning. Get scratched once, and you become one of them. Lim isn't coddling anyone today. He shoves Wang straight toward the horde of zombies. Don't be a coward, he snaps. Wang stammers, trying to steal his nerves. He takes a breath, activates his ability, and steps up. Lim watches closely. Wang's stone skin is solid, way tougher than it was during training. Lim barks a reminder over the noise. Wang, remember, we are subduing them. Do not kill them. The infected close in from all sides. Panic flickers in Wang's eyes. What's the move? He yells. Lim just shrugs, cold as ice. Figure it out. Cornered, Wang swings his rock-hard fists. Asterisk, crack, asterisk. He lands a solid blow on an infected. The shock turns to pure thrill. I did it, he screams, overjoyed. I actually hit one. Meanwhile, Lily is pouting, playing with a flame in her hand. This is boring, can't I just torch them? Lim shuts that down fast. Those are civilians, and fellow guild members, Lily. No incinerating. So don't even think about destroying them. Lim turns his attention to the support crew. Status? One of the twins gives a thumbs up from behind a lens. Cameras rolling. Boss. Got everything. Lim smirks. Good. We need evidence for the compensation claim. Money first, heroics second. The other twin chimes in. Repellent suits are prepped and ready. Lim nods. Time to neutralize the infected and get them suited up. The third twin steps forward, holding a vial. Antidote secured, just like you asked. Lim takes the vial. In a dungeon like this, the antidote is the key to survival. He scans the battlefield, analyzing the situation with a tactician's eye. The Red Shark support staff are down, effectively asleep, but the others, they move differently. Too fast. Too strong. Lim realizes the truth. These aren't civilians. They are superhumans. Lim moves like a blur. A single finger flick to the neck, and the infected superhumans drop like flies. One by one, they fall. Wang watches, jaw dropped. How does he make it look so easy? Dusting off his hands, Lim surveys the unconscious pile. Good work, Wang, line them up. He starts sorting through his gear supplies prepped specifically for the labyrinth of fallen spirits. He pulls out a high-grade antidote. Here is the science. After a zombie bite, you have 10 minutes before the madness sets in. 30 minutes later, you are a mindless drone, protecting the hive. Lim knows the clock is ticking. Once that half-hour mark passes, the victims become obedient warriors for the zombie hive. It is a fate worse than death. Judging by their state, they turned over half an hour ago. The antidote will cure the virus, but their minds? They are going to be scrambled for a while. Clear the area, Lim orders. I need to focus. The team steps back. Lim approaches the dazed survivors, his presence commanding. I saved you, Lim tells them. Now, you help me. Lim knows talent when he sees it. In a world where specialization is key, survival requires versatility. But as the danger ramps up, people like Lim have to evolve. That is exactly why he traveled across dimensions in his past life. From the Gaia continent to the Muram underworld and the Byron continent, he absorbed every scrap of magic and martial arts he could find. Survival was the only rule. One specific trick he picked up? A technique to dominate low-intelligence creatures. Perfect for this situation. He looks at the infected. You are fighting with us now. It is not a request. We hunt the zombie bees. Follow my orders. The infected nod, thrilled to have a purpose. Cut to later, Wang is sweating bullets inside a heavy suit. I got the queen bee, he pants, looking exhausted. But we are swarming with enemies out here. Lily, torch them, Lim commands, holding out a snack as a bribe. Food? She cannot say no to that. She grins, grabs the snack, and unleashes the fire. One of the twins watches the scene, confused. I didn't expect the Red Sharks to actually help us. Did you do something to them, Commander? Lim feigns innocence. They are just repaying a debt. Happy to help. He checks the gear. Bug control suit is ready. Let's move. Suddenly, Lim freezes. Halt. Steps approach. It is another group of superhumans. Lily squints. Hey, those are the guys from the slug incident. Before they can react, Lily has them under control. Lim nods approvingly. I am sure they are dying to correct their mistakes. It is almost too easy. Suspiciously easy. Day 4 rolls around. Disaster strikes, one of the twins reports in. Pale-faced. Monsters. They raided the supplies. The food is gone. Lim examines the ground. Tracks are fresh. They are close. He signals Lily. She blows a whistle, the same frequency Lim uses, and calls in the cavalry. Their mind-controlled army assembles. Lim watches her work. At least she is having fun commanding the reptiles. The target? A carpet of red-eyed poison mice scurrying across the floor, or what is left of them after Lily is done. It is going smoothly, too smoothly. Lim narrows his eyes. He knows the dungeon rhythm, the calm before the storm. The boss is near. Right on cue, the air shifts. Something massive takes flight in the darkness. Demonic mirror bat. Intermediate boss. Lim's voice booms. Combat stations. Leave the vehicles. Wang, front and center. Lim has a plan. The bat uses illusions on anyone who meets its gaze. But Lim has already brainwashed the Red Sharks. You cannot mind control a mind that is already taken. Wang, do not look at the mirror, Lim warns. The bat's power turns victims into minions instantly. The team needs to be flawless. But Wang flinches, terror washing over him. I'm scared. Lim and Lily explode. Stop being a coward. Lim pivots to tactics. Lily, firewall. Block their path. Everyone fall back. 2 kilometers, now. Lim orders. I will scout the enemy and regroup. He whistles, sending his minions scattering to safety. Lily's hand glows with intense heat. Do I burn it all down? Normally yes, Lim replies, but not today. Cut the flames. Lim activates concealment, vanishing from sight. Wang blinks, confused. Where did he go? Lim ignores him, stalking the bat. He spots it. He draws a throwing knife and snaps his wrist. Asterisk, miss, asterisk. The bat shrieks, locking eyes with him. Concealment failed. The monster moves erratically, dodging through the air. Lim realizes he needs distance to analyze the pattern. He pulls back. Moments later, he rejoins the team. The twins rush him. You okay? I'm fine, Lim says, keeping it professional. Listen closely. We don't have time. Here is the plan. The bat is still hunting. Lim spots it. Target inbound. He signals the tech squad. Pull back. They scramble away, yelling, Fortifications are ready. Lim grins. Perfect. All units, engage. But the bat isn't alone. It sends a wave of minions crashing down toward them. The enemy swarm dives at Lim's team. Chaos erupts. Lim launches himself into the air, aiming a killing blow at the boss. The bat swerves. It escapes. Lim lands and shouts the kill command. Lily, now. The girl blasts the bat with searing fire, but it does nothing. This mid-boss dodges every single strike. It mocks them, sneezing in contempt and letting its guard down. Lim sees the opening and slams a shield down, trapping the beast. He leaps into the air as Lily manifests a platform beneath his feet. Lim calculates the odds no matter how fast this thing moves. It can't outrun gravity. Lim descends with a devastating kick, decapitating the monster in a single, fluid motion. Lim pockets the dropped loot mirror and leads the squad to the final gate. This is it, he warns. Stay sharp, no mistakes. Lily points at Wang, who is still trembling in the corner. How long is the coward going to be useless? Lim shrugs. Leave him. We need him exactly like this until the boss falls. Wake him up now, and he'll just get brainwashed again anyway. The scene shifts. Deep inside the chamber, a figure waits shrouded in a raincoat. The cloak falls away. It is a skeleton, eye sockets burning with blue fire, a spirit hunter. Lim whistles, signaling the charge, and his minions flood the room. The hunter recoils in surprise. Vaughn lunges forward, arms wide. Free hugs, he yells. The skeleton lashes out instantly. Vaughn parries the strike, clicking his tongue. Wow, what a hater. He effortlessly blocks the next swing, tanking the damage. Lim watches from the shadows. Vaughn might be timid by nature, but his defense is rock solid. This is exactly what Wang Guo trained for. Realizing he is surrounded, the spirit hunter casts a spell. Ominous runes glowing on the floor. Spirit connection. A nasty long-range hex designed to turn everyone in the vicinity into mindless puppets. Lim smirks. It is useless. The subordinates ignore the magic completely and keep swinging. The hunter is baffled. He doesn't know that the demonic mirror Lim looted earlier is already keeping the team in a controlled state. You can't brainwash a zombie. Suddenly, the hunter freezes, his blade won't budge. He turns to see Vaughn gripping the steel with his bare hands. I like you too, buddy. Vaughn grins. Lim glances at Lily. You're up. The hunter activates his second skill, devil summoning. Lim rolls his eyes. Monkey magic? Predicted that one. Lily unleashes hell. Flames engulf the room. If I cook them well enough, do they taste like chicken? She asks innocently. The spirit hunter actually looks terrified. Good girl, Lim says. Roast the monkeys. Enraged, the skeleton hurls his sword with Vaughn still attached to it. The weapon flies straight at them. Lim blinks, thinking he saw something awkward, but decides to strictly ignore it. It is not his turn yet. Lim's philosophy is simple. Clear the dungeon with 0 personal calorie expenditure. He leans back, watching the chaos. He lets the minions wear the boss down. Only when the enemy is exhausted will he step in. 1 full hour passes. The skeleton is screaming in desperation. Time's up, Lim decides. He whistles, and the team instantly disengages, leaping back. Still waiting? Lim asks, stepping forward. Let's wrap this up. The hunter chatters something in an ancient tongue. Lim doesn't speak, dead skeleton. But the accusation is clear. Coward. Lim stares him down. I hope you understand times, my times, words, though. Some of us don't have the luxury of honor. We do what we must to survive. He flashes the illusion mirror. The mirror can't control a boss, but it distracts him for a split second. That is all Lim needs. Asterisk. Lightning fist. Asterisk. The punch shatters the skeletal armor. Lim pauses, eyes widening. Embedded in the creature's chest is a spirit stone. That is no ordinary gem. It is a treasure beyond high-level magic stones, an artifact capable of granting a miracle. Asterisk. This times is why Lim entered the labyrinth of fallen spirits. I'll put it to good use, he whispers to the crumbling bones. Lily approaches. Is it over? Lim ignores her, staring at the stone with a manic grin. He has struck gold. With this, he can use transformation. Usually, martial artists use it to perfect their physique for combat, but Lim has different priorities. He wants to halt the aging process. He wants to stay young and hot for his retirement, which is scheduled for exactly 3 years from now. What you got? Lily asks, drooling. Tasty? Lim pulls it away. Not food. You'll die. Lily pouts. Liar. You just want to eat it all yourself. Lim opens his mouth to scold her when the stone dissolves into thin air. He freezes. That thing was worth millions at auction. Gone. Just like that. Confused, Lim checks his wrist and notices something impossible. The hands on his broken watch are moving. It wasn't broken, it was hungry. It runs on pure magic power. Meanwhile, back in the real world, the 4 major guilds are in a panic. 10 days have passed. The raid team should have returned by now. Experts are already declaring them K.I.A. Yunwei stands by the gate, watching the grim news. You're here again? A man approaches. It is her uncle. Don't worry. Team 2 is going in. We'll bring the 7th team back. Bang Woo-hyuk, commander of the White House 2nd team. Yunwei shakes her head. The other guilds have already given up. They aren't sending anyone. She knows Bang is elite, capable of clearing an A-rank dungeon, but fear still tightens her chest. Please, she whispers. Be careful. Count on us. Bang turns to his squad, lined up at the portal entrance. Team 2, move out. Suddenly, the gate ripples violently. Combat positions. Bang roars, but no monster emerges. Instead, the 7th team steps out, casual as ever, led by Lim. Bang exhales in relief. Yunwei doesn't hesitate. She sprints forward and launches herself into Lim's arms. Lim stiffens, completely taken off guard. Whoa, what is with the assault? Careful, he grunts, trying to peel her off. I've got a kid on my back. Yunwei pulls back, teary-eyed. What took you so long? Lim smirks. Just a few. Unforeseen circumstances. Public displays of affection aren't Lim's thing, and he begs her to let go. But she refuses. She screams that she's terrified to lose him again. Lim is running on fumes and just wants to go home. He tells her to wait for the cleanup crew. The White House's 7th team handles the recovery. Against all odds, the guild's superhumans make it back alive. But the intel is grim. The gate was a death trap, far deadlier than the government's worst estimates. The driver can't stop talking, apparently. The whole nation is buzzing about Lim's heroics. For Lim, it's just another headache. He changes the subject. Didn't you say it hadn't rained? While Lim was fighting for his life in the dungeon, the driver confirms it was bone dry outside. Not a single cloud in the sky. The driver asks if Lim is curious about the rainbow that appeared 4 days ago. Lim's blood runs cold. That is no trick of the light. It is the harbinger of the first great calamity. Lim knows the timeline. Bit by bit, those colors will bleed away. And on the day the rainbow vanishes completely, hell arrives, the night of the 7 moons. Hundreds of gates will rip open simultaneously, unleashing an endless tide of nightmares. In his past life, Lim barely survived by cowering in a bunker. Not this time. The board has changed, and the calamity of fire is in his hand. He is not the weakling he once was. His watch, pulsing with the absorbed mana of the Spirit Stone, transforms into a gauntlet of iron. He is ready. Flashback to the prep work. Lily is struggling with her outfit. She complains the waste is snatching her breath away, which is a problem since she plans to devour the entire buffet. Lim suggests a pair of baggy coveralls as a practical alternative. Lily shoots him a look that says, absolutely not. Lim shrugs. What do you want me to do? Yunwei gifted her that gown when he realized she didn't own a stitch of formal wear. It would be an insult to leave it in the closet. Lim tells her to suck it up for the entrance. She can slip into something comfy once the pleasantries are done. Lily lights up. Lim is a genius. Cut to the present. The dungeon run is over, the heroes are safe, and the White House Guild is throwing the party of the century. Master Chan greets them like conquering kings. He pulls Lim into a bone-crushing hug, roaring that he never doubted Lim's survival for a second. Yunwei beams. noting the dress fits Lily like a glove. She thanks him, her voice clearer, now stronger every day. Jang steps up, asking if Lily would care to join him for dinner. Yunwei watches them go, misty-eyed at her progress. Lim surveys the room. The Black Hound Guild is alive with celebration, a life like this. It used to be an impossible dream. A shadow falls over him. It is Chan. He cuts straight to the chase. "What are your goals, kid?" Lim blinks, caught off guard. The guildmaster, slightly tipsy and sentimental, wants to know what drives the new generation. Lim doesn't hesitate. Retirement. Maximum comfort. "I'm going to stack cash, build a massive 9,900 square meter mansion, fill it with friends, and do absolutely nothing." Jang, Wang, and Yunwei stare in disbelief. Yunwei calls it paradise. Wang agrees a quiet life sounds nice, but Chan narrows his eyes. "Don't you want power?" He is about to drag Lim into a hellish training regimen, but Yunwei cuts him off. Originally, Lim just wanted to dodge the coming apocalypse, but things have changed. He has untapped potential. He has allies he can trust. If he can't stop the catastrophe, he will exploit it. Cut to the vacation arc. Chan stands before a pristine lake in the Forbidden Territory, awestruck. He dives in head first. "Nature heals the soul," he bellows. Lim invites the chief and the others to relax a full week off, no strings attached. Then he spots Yunwei. She asks for help with the sunscreen, claims she can't reach her back. Lim rolls his eyes. "You need to work on your flexibility." To prove a point, he effortlessly touches his own shoulder blades. She pouts, just wanting him to say yes. Lim points to Wang and rice cake. "If you need hands, ask them." Yunwei realizes she hasn't properly met the big guy yet. "Who is this?" Rice cake freezes. The beauty is actually talking to him. He scrambles over, stumbling over his words. "I'm Kim Min Yi, but, you can call me Red Bean Rice Cake." Yunwei smiles politely, but Lim steps in. "We are not there yet. If he keeps acting weird, I'm changing his nickname." "How does whipped blood pie sound?" Lim turns to the guildmaster. "Hey chief, up for a swim race?" Chan grins. "You're on." First one to the other side takes the glory. They toss a rock as the signal. The moment it splashes, they explode off the bank. Chan takes the lead instantly. Lim isn't surprised the man is a top-tier superhuman. But Lim isn't trying to win. He's using Chan as bait for a bigger catch. Mid-stroke, Chan brakes hard. Something is wrong. The water erupts as a massive octopus surfaces. Chan isn't scared, he's pissed. "You dare interrupt my race?" He launches himself out of the water, delivering a devastating haymaker. The monster is stunned, but Chan is just getting started, raining down blows. Lim watches in awe. The chief is tearing a sea monster apart with his bare fists. Bringing a human tank on vacation was the best decision Lim ever made. With the beast down, Lim swims up. "You good?" "Didn't expect guests," Lim quips. Jang sighs with relief that Lim is untouched. "That's the Forbidden Territory for you. Always full of surprises." They've drifted far out. Chan, ever the leader, worries about the group on shore. He suggests hauling the calamari back to the lab for analysis. Lim agrees but says he is going to check the depths first. "Lunch is waiting," Chan yells, heading back to shore. Lim calculates. Chan just cleared the area, so the local wildlife is spooked. Perfect. He activates his shield and sinks like a stone. That kraken died for getting in the way. But the real prize and the real danger is waiting in the darkness below. He doesn't know how deep the rabbit hole goes, only that treasure lies at the bottom. Down he goes, until a spectral green glow pierces the gloom. Gotcha. He found it. Lim decides to head back to the boys and enjoy the vacation for now. He'll come back for this later, and next time he's bringing Lily. Suddenly, the situation goes critical. A massive gravitational force drags Lim downward. His defensive shield fractures under the pressure, shattering completely as he struggles to swim against the current. The undertow is relentless, far stronger than he anticipated. This throws a wrench in the hero's plans for a quick return. Meanwhile, back on dry land, Jiang and Lily are killing time. Jiang slides a drink toward her, urging her to finish it before the commander returns and forces some bizarre, questionable cuisine on them. Lily agrees, deciding to eat now rather than risk it later. The scene shifts to a damp, unknown cavern. Lim snaps awake, disoriented but alive. In the darkness, he hears hushed voices echoing off the stone walls. The voices are whispering, debating whether he is awake and if they should wait or strike. It turns out these aren't terrifying monsters, but tiny, familiar creatures Lim recognizes instantly. They demand to know his identity. Lim ignores the interrogation, asking if they were the ones who dragged him here, all while casually snapping the ropes, binding him as if they were wet paper. The creatures freeze in terror, convinced he will slaughter them now that he is free. Lim, however, raises a hand and tells them to relax. He has no intention of killing them. In the continent of Nostal, magical flora and fairies are commonplace. During his time as a guide there, Lim often encountered these spirits near pristine water sources. These are snowcaps, typically kind, innocent fairies, known for their gentle nature. Lim cuts to the chase, confirming their species aloud. Stunned that a human knows their name, they bombard him with questions. Has he been to Nostal? Does he speak their tongue? Lim halts the chaos, establishing a rule one question at a time. In his previous life, there was zero data about this location. If the timeline or history is shifting, that is a serious problem. He demands to know why they are hiding in this cave. The snowcaps droop visibly, overcome with sadness. They explain that they used to live peacefully in a lake, but the entire body of water was suddenly warped into this dimension. Lim connects the dots immediately. This is the inside of the first gate. The snowcaps describe the chaos that followed, with monsters appearing and tearing each other apart in a frenzy. A massive octopus, the kraken, decimated their population. To survive, the remaining fairies fled to the deepest trenches and found this air pocket as their sanctuary. It is a grim tale of near extinction, which explains why no information existed about them in the records. The leader mourns that they have absolutely no future here. Without sunlight, they are withering away, and the kraken blocks any hope of escape. The fairy continues her hopeless monologue, convinced they are all waiting to die. Lim interrupts the pity party with cold facts. The kraken is dead. The exit is clear. The snowcaps scream at him, accusing him of lying to give them false hope. Verify it yourselves, Lim challenges. One brave snowcap swims forward, touching Lim's hand with her tail. Her innate magic activates, and the tail glows a vibrant green. The truth hits them. They erupt into joyous spins and cheers, celebrating their freedom and thanking the hero for avenging their fallen kin. But the noise is too much. Lim snaps. He roars at them to zip it, complaining that their high-pitched squealing is giving him a migraine. He suggests they team up to leave, and the leader agrees enthusiastically. Friends is a strong word, but Lim plays along. His true objective is unearthly power. If he can secure that item now, dealing with the upcoming first calamity will be a walk in the park. However, the power is protected by a guardian. Lim decides to use his new alliance with the snowcaps to pinpoint the exact location of the treasure. His mind wanders to capitalism. He starts calculating the potential revenue of converting this magical lake into a snowcap-themed amusement park. He could make a fortune. Stop, Snowdrop shrieks. A trap lies ahead. Thanks to her timely warning, Lim sidesteps a hidden mechanism that would have severely damaged him. He realizes that navigating this alone would have been a nightmare. The fairy chirps happily that they are close, but she wants to stop and greet their protector first. Lim's instincts flare up. Protector? He asks them to pause, dreading the answer. He prays it is not what he thinks it is. A white, armored construct. Is it about half my height and made of hard material? He asks. Snowdrop confirms it, beaming with pride about how strong and tough their friend is. That explains why the kraken never breached this cave. Lim identifies the guardian immediately. He tells the fairies to go say their goodbyes while he hangs back. The snowcaps return, but they are not alone. A mechanical figure steps from the gloom. Lim sighs. This is exactly what he feared. Intruder detected. The machine drones. A heavy blast door slams shut behind Lim, sealing off his only exit route. The robot runs a quick scan, its eyes glowing red. Target destruction authorized. Lim shoots a sarcastic look at the fairies. Is this your good friend? Snowdrop is confused as the robot identifies Lim as a target. Suddenly, the machine transforms, expanding into a hulking combat chassis, equipped with razor-sharp claws. Fine, Lim mutters. Good time to test the gear. The machine lunges. Lim blocks the strike with his ironclad arm, sparks flying from the impact. The force skids him backward, but he keeps his footing. The weight class difference is massive, but Lim remains calm. It is not an impossible fight. He spots a weakness. The machine's right side servos are damaged. The robot pauses, recalculating the threat level of the intruder. It unlocks high-tier weaponry to compensate. Lim does not give it time to load, landing a heavy blow. Did you think I would just stand there and wait? He taunts. Nanomachines swarm over the dent self-repair. Lim curses. He is burning too much mana just keeping the glove active. He decides to retreat and rethink his strategy. He considers smashing through the wall to escape, maybe regrouping with Jiang and Lily to flank it. But suddenly, the situation gets complicated. Snowdrop flies directly into the kill zone. Don't fight Snow blind, she screams. He is our friend. Lim stares, baffled by her suicidal pacifism. The robot does not care. Target lock confirmed. It intones, preparing to fire. Lim dives in, smashing the machine aside before it can vaporize the fairy. Snowdrop is hysterical, yelling at Lim. Why did you hit him? Lim grunts, dodging a metal fist. We can discuss ethics when we are not dead. The battle ends with a crunch of gears. The snowcaps gather around the wreckage of Snowblind, weeping and accusing Lim of murdering their friend. It attacked me first. Lim defends himself. Would you prefer I let it kill me? The fairy sniffles. No. But we are still upset. Suddenly, the golem's voice box crackles. Combat test complete. Mastery proven. Its chest cavity slides open, revealing a gleaming key. It was a trial all along. Lim grabs the key, now he just needs to find the safe. The snowcaps, however, continue to mourn their broken robot, declaring, Lim is no longer their friend. Friends don't kill friends. That was Lim's defense. He assured them the golem wasn't gone for good. The snowcaps were skeptical, until they checked and realized Lim was telling the truth. To Lim, that golem was a walking headache, a relic that naive modern technology couldn't hope to replicate. But Jang was a specialist. He was the only one capable of rebooting it. Priorities first, Lim said, stepping through a mysterious shimmering gate. Snow floated beside him, wide-eyed. This place. It's open for the first time, she whispered. What are we looking for? Lim knew exactly what. And there it was, the golden drink of life, a legendary elixir with infinite supply and potent healing properties that defied logic. Lim couldn't suppress his grin. In an era before alchemy had truly evolved, he had just secured an endless source of high-grade recovery potion in a luxury decanter. He was thrilled. The taste alone was divine. He could sell this in a heartbeat. But its true purpose was for the night of the first calamity of the 7 moons. When the monster legions descended, this drink would be the difference between life and death for countless heroes and civilians. Lim took a swig. Me too, Snow begged. She had caught the scent of the mana-rich liquid. Lim warned her the supply in the cup was low, but he offered her a taste, promising a full serving later. Snow sipped just a couple of drops. Instantly, she began to glow with blinding intensity. Even she looked terrified. Lim frowned, trying to analyze the reaction. Did the elixir affect water fairies differently? I feel lighter, Snow chirped. But something was wrong. You're shrinking, Lim noted bluntly. They would have to figure that out later. We're done here, the hero announced. Time to move. He ordered the snowcaps to tow the golem as they ascended. Strange. The higher Lim floated, the warmer the water became. Outside, night had fallen, yet the sky was ablaze with an eerie glow. The snowcaps trembled. Lim looked up, wondering if Lily was sleepwalking or playing with matches again. She had conjured a fireball so massive, the fairies mistook it for a second sun. Lily blinked, surprised to see Lim surface. Put that out and get down here, Lim roared. Are you trying to evaporate the entire lake? Chan was screaming, frantic. Where have you been? Lim realized the timing was tight. If he had stayed underwater a minute longer, the consequences would have been dire. Extreme situation, Lim deadpanned. Chan exhaled, relieved. Thank God you stopped her. She was seconds away from drying up the lake. Suddenly, Yunhui and Wang came sprinting over, shouting Lim's name. Chan waved them down. Yunhui didn't stop. She threw herself at Lim, hugging him tight. Where did you go? Just then, Snow zipped out from behind Lim. Monster! Chan shrieked, weapons drawn. Relax, Lim sighed, calming the group. She's a new friend. I'll explain the details later, the hero promised. Suddenly, thud, Lily buried her head into Lim's chest. Where were you? She demanded, pummeling him with her fists. It's dinner time, she wailed, continuing her assault. I was so worried I had to skip a meal just to find you. Lim placed a hand on her head, offering a quiet apology. The vacation was over. Reality called, and everyone returned to their daily grind. Flash forward chaos. The team was already deep in combat, holding the line against a horde of orcs while civilians evacuated. Lim barked a command. Wang! You're up! Wang didn't hesitate. His daily regimen of 5 mana-rich meals and brutal training was about to be tested. His growth rate was explosive, exceeding even Lim's wildest expectations. With any luck, Wang would be the MVP of the upcoming first calamity. That's enough, Wang. Stand down, Lim ordered. He turned to the fire mage. Lily, you ready? She nodded. Give me 1 minute. Lim had bribed her with French fries, literally. She was screaming about salty snacks as she incinerated the monsters. Orders followed, she chirped. Now buy me the monster burger set. Lim checked his watch. You were 5 seconds late. You'll have to settle for the single patty. Commander, can I join that dinner? Wang asked, wiping sweat from his brow. Suddenly, Lim's eyes narrowed. Movement behind Wang. Lim bolted, covering his tank's blind spot. Shadow Goblin, Lim hissed. Nasty little assassin, waiting for an opening. He glanced at Wang. What was that about dinner? Wang looked shaken. Get ready, the hero warned. Wang nodded, excusing himself. I think I'll eat something nutritious and do some extra reps tonight. Lim smirked. Good attitude. He could feel his own strength returning, his reflexes sharpening to the level of his previous life. Shadow Goblins were barely a warm-up now. His mana pool was expanding. If he kept this pace, he would surpass his prime. They looked up at a rainbow arching over the battlefield. No red, Lily observed. Lim's expression darkened. If that rainbow faded in 2 weeks, the Night of 7 Moons would begin. Survival required 3 things. Overwhelming firepower to cull the herd, a strike team to shatter the gate core, and a strategy to save the city. Restoring stamina and healing the wounded was critical. Lim had the healing covered with the elixir. Now, he just needed to prepare the rest. Flashback to headquarters. Yunhui was briefing him on the logistics. Potion sales launch this week, she reported, scrolling through a tablet. Keep a close watch on them, Lim instructed. Report any hiccups immediately. And the food sales? Doesn't matter anymore, Yunhui replied. Even without the marketing push, superhumans are lining up around the block. We fixed the serving sizes and jacked up the prices, she added. And they're still buying. Lim nodded. Good, Yunhui smirked. Did I impress you? Lim shifted topics. How's Zhang? He claims the golem is already mobile, Yunhui said, sounding skeptical. Honestly, no one else could have pulled that off, but Zhang swears he can do it. Lim climbed into the waiting car. Trust him, he'll handle it. Why are you so sure? Yunhui asked. Because, Lim said, I need this done, so I can take Lily to the zoo. He settled into the seat, pulling out a dossier. It listed his old comrades, now living different lives. Lim sighed. His intervention had altered the future. There was no guarantee their paths would ever cross again. Lim secured the documents for his personal archives. Yunhui, ever the diligent assistant, asked if he required anything else. She was eager to tackle more work before his departure. Before leaving for his week-long vacation, Lim turned to his driver. Tell me, how long is your daily commute? The driver blinked. About an hour, sir. That is inefficient, Lim mused, noting the man's fatigue. The driver tried to dismiss it, but Lim cut him off. How would you like an apartment? Right next to the guild headquarters. The car swerved slightly. The driver was floored. Lim didn't miss a beat, instructing Yunhui to arrange the quarters immediately. Make it spacious, he added. Big enough for his entire family. On my tab. Yunhui smiled, shaking her head. Asterisk. He really is a strange one. Asterisk, she thought. The driver stammered, asking if he heard correctly. It is simply more convenient for me, Lim insisted, brushing off the gratitude. I have more money than I can spend, so do not dare refuse. The driver sat there, paralyzed by shock. The man grinned, wondering if he was dreaming or if it was his birthday. Meanwhile, Lim calculated internally. Asterisk. With potions, money is irrelevant. I can make millions in seconds. Asterisk. Asterisk. But money cannot evacuate loved ones when the apocalypse arrives. Asterisk. Lim's expression hardened. He knew there was still so much work to be done to prepare for the end. Scene shift. We see Mina waving them off, wishing the heroes a safe journey. Lim entrusted the headquarters to her vigilance while they were gone. Don't think you can escape your duties forever, Lily teased him. They departed, trekking through the dense forest until they spotted a familiar figure, Wang. Wang stood before a massive boulder, frustration radiating off him. Lim signaled Lily to hush. Keep walking, he whispered. He is focused. Too slow, Wang growled at the stone, his face twisted in annoyance. This isn't enough. If I don't get stronger, the commander will kick me out. Lim winced behind the bushes. He had no intention of firing the guy, but Wang's anxiety was palpable. Asterisk. Well, whatever drives him, asterisk, Lim decided, choosing not to interfere with the training. Asterisk. Strength is strength. Asterisk, he turned to Lily. Let's take to the skies. Lily instantly manifested a shimmering shield beneath their feet. Incredible, Lim praised. Since when could you do this? Just now, she shrugged. Figured I would try. Asterisk. A true prodigy. Asterisk, Lim thought, convinced once again of her immense talent. Moments later, they arrived at Lim's secret vault, stocked with loot from the forbidden territory. Lily greeted the snow spirits guarding the entrance. Report, the leader chirped. Nothing to report, ma'am. Quiet as the grave. Excellent, Lim nodded. Maintain a tight perimeter around the cave. The spirits saluted, swearing to protect their master's property with their lives. They downed the elixir of life, their movements accelerating to bullet speeds. Lim linked his mana to theirs, an instant alarm system that would alert him of any invasion. Lily scanned the artifacts. Why are we here? Lim pointed to the charlatan's mask. Charisma boost, voice modulation. It makes you sound like a prophet. The sage's mantle radiates an oppressive mana aura. And this wooden staff? Pure intimidation. When infused with power, they began to suit up. Lim donned the sage's robe and the charlatan's mask, his voice warped, resonating with a strange, ancient power. Preparations complete, he intoned. Operations start. Flash forward. A dimensional gate tore open in the middle of the city. Two figures emerged from the swirling vortex, Lim and Lily. The civilians near the gate froze, eyes wide with shock. Asterisk. Perfect. Asterisk. Lim thought, scanning the growing crowd. Asterisk. The more witnesses, the better. Asterisk. Lim lowered his hood, the mask concealing his identity. I am Archmage Maximus of the Gaia continent, he bellowed. I bring a dire warning to this realm. The crowd murmured in confusion. His initial words were unintelligible, an alien tongue never before heard on Earth. Is he a monster from the gate? Fear rippled through them. Suddenly, Lim's staff flared with blinding light. Peace, he commanded, casting translation magic. Allow me to introduce myself properly. His voice now crystal clear. I am Archmage Maximus. Heed my words carefully, for your survival depends on it. Lily caught the signal and expanded the shield under their feet. They rose above the crowd, Lim's voice thundering like a god. I have come to warn you, a real mage, the people gasped, pointing. Lim gestured to the sky. This rainbow is no blessing. It is the mark of the curse. When the colors fade, a calamity shall descend upon your lands. Thousands of hellgates will rupture the fabric of your world. Lily maintained the levitation, selling the act perfectly. Demons will flood the heavens and earth. The living shall close their eyes, and the dead shall rise. You must unite, or face extinction. Asterisk, hook, line, and sinker, asterisk Lim, smirked behind the mask. The artifact amplified his voice to a terrifying bass, while the robe pumped out a crushing aura that captivated the crowd. The staff was just a light show, but it looked majestic. A police officer stepped forward, trembling. How? How do we stop this? You cannot, Lim answered coldly. You can only minimize the slaughter. Bring me your king, Lim demanded. I will provide the details only to the ruler of this world. Scene shift. The Blue House interrogation room. Ju Sang-wook, director of the Superhuman Support Service, stared at him. I have never met a mage before, he admitted. Your surprise is noted, Lim replied smoothly. But I have no time for pleasantries. Take me to your king, immediately. Director Ju frowned. Why are you so sure I am not the king? Do rulers look different on the Gaia continent? Do not play games with me, Lim scoffed. I am a reader of fate. My vision is not absolute, but I see the threads of history. I see the destiny of those who will shape the world. Lim leaned in. You are no king today, but I see the hunger in you. You strive for the throne in the near future, do you not? Ju stiffened, his composure cracking. Lim wasn't using magic, he was remembering the future. He knew about Ju's upcoming presidential bid, and his reputation as a ruthless judge of superhumans. He knew Ju despised those who abused their powers to commit crimes. That is all the spirits reveal, Lim lied, pulling back mysteriously. Suddenly, the door burst open. An aide rushed in. Director, the president requests an immediate audience with the interdimensional mage. Ju handed Lim his staff, a newfound respect in his eyes. Follow me to the king. They walked through the Blue House, a fortress rebuilt after the first gate shattered its roof years ago. A nightmare crawled out of the breach, and in its wake, the president and the parliament were wiped from existence. The subsequent election? A mere bandage on a gaping wound. Chaos still reigns, but the Blue House has evolved. It stands now as a fortress, grim and militarized. Meanwhile, Sanic announces their arrival. They step into the Oval Office, where the president greets the hero, desperately clinging to the authority of his title. I heard the rumors, the president says, eyeing them. Aximus, the mage from another dimension. Lim confirms it, he is Aximus, a sorcerer from the Gaia continent. He bows slightly, asking forgiveness for using translation magic to bridge their worlds. The president waves it off, forcing a smile. It is fine. Please, sit. Lim moves to the chair but pauses. Unique furniture, he observes dryly. The president doesn't blink. It is a lie detector. Standard procedure these days. One false word, and I will know, the president warns. Lim feigns a tremor of nervousness, suggesting perhaps the president should demonstrate first. Just sit, the president commands. Lim straightens his posture. I have nothing to hide. He takes the seat, ready for the interrogation. Are you truly from Gaia? The president demands. Yes. They answer in unison. And the disaster you speak of, is it real? It is, Lim replies, his voice steady. We came to warn you. He glances at Lily. My assistant knows little, but I saw it all. Tell me everything, the president orders. Lily looks confused, but Lim is calm. He is a master of martial arts. He controls his breath, his pulse, his very sweat. The machine stays silent. He is beating the lie detector. Convinced, the president orders the wires removed. Lim exhales, acting the part of the relieved guest. I apologize for the suspicion, the president mutters. Caution is wise, Lim says graciously, but the president leans in, his voice dropping to a whisper. Now, a personal question. Can you take me to your world? Before the end comes here, the president begs. Is Gaia safer? He reasons that, since the mage came from there, it must be a sanctuary compared to this doomed planet. Lim's expression darkens. You are the leader of this nation, he snaps, and you wish to abandon your people to save your own skin? I never asked to be king, the president screams, leaping up. I inherited a graveyard. If you want money, power, name it. I will give you anything. The president is unraveling. I am sick of this world where death waits around every corner. Just take me, my family, my friends. Please. Lim stares at the pathetic display. He did not expect the leader of a nation to be so spineless. I misjudged you. Lim grabs Lily's hand, pulling her toward the door. We are leaving. The president freezes, shock written all over his face. But you said you would help. He stammers. Lim stops. You will never know what I am thinking right now. He looks back with cold eyes. I need nothing from you. He rejects the offer flat out. The president sighs, his shoulders slumping. I see. Then, there is no other choice. The silent guard in the corner steps forward. He removes his mask. It is Kim Soo-ho, Titan, the first awakened. He moves with godlike speed, blurring across the room to block the exit. The air grows heavy. Lim realizes he cannot match this power. He cannot even meet his gaze. What is so funny? Soo-ho asks, a smirk playing on his lips. Lim relaxes his stance. How long were you planning to keep up the act, King Soo-ho? You knew? Soo-ho raises an eyebrow. Your destiny star, Lim replies. It shines too bright to hide. Kim Soo-ho, the hero who brought order to the chaos. When the first gate opened, he rallied the police, shielded the civilians, and when the dust settled on the elections, he rebuilt the Blue House from the ashes. He is the true ruler of this country, the one who restored order while politicians cowered. Every citizen in South Korea knows his legend. The scene shifts. We are now at the Disaster Response Center. Soo-ho takes the podium. Before we begin, Soo-ho announces, Meet the mage who brought us the prophecy. This is Aximus. Lim steps forward. Listen closely, Lim says. He lays out the grim future, the catastrophe that approaches. He finishes, letting the weight of his words settle. Lim scans the room. The heavy hitters are all here. Baek Jang-sung, the monster, Kim Tae-jin, the demon king, Han Jae-hee, the ice queen, and Ma Ti-woon, the iron wall. The 5 first awakened, the strongest warriors in the nation, the pillars who hold the line against the monsters alongside Soo-ho. Tomorrow morning, Soo-ho declares, I will declare a national state of emergency. We will prepare for total war, Soo-ho continues. I need every resource available. Jin speaks up, skeptical. You believe this fairy tale, Mr. President? Ti-woon scoffs, crossing his massive arms. I agree with Jin. The guy looks like a 2-bit con artist. They argue that martial law without proof is madness. It is hasty, they shout. The room erupts into chaos. Silence! Soo-ho roars. I have verified his claims personally. Have you forgotten the first gate? Soo-ho asks, his voice cutting deep. Do you want to be caught unprepared again? If nothing happens, we celebrate, Soo-ho argues. But if we do nothing, and the disaster strikes, we lose everything. Ti-woon exhales loudly, grumbling about wasted effort. Suddenly, he stands up and lunges across the table, straight at the heroes. Lim tenses, ready for combat, but Ti-woon isn't aiming for him. He grabs Lily. She has been annoying me this whole time, the giant growls. Stand still, Ti-woon barks. Why the mask? Huh? Hiding a scar? Or maybe you are a criminal? He rips the mask from her face. The mask clatters to the floor. The room goes deadly silent. Lily is not human. She has the ears of a cat, and she is hissing in pure fury. A beastkin? The council murmurs in shock. Lim steps in quickly, placing a calming hand on his assistant's shoulder. You made a mistake, Lim says smoothly. Her kind, Lim lies with perfect conviction. are deeply ashamed to show their true faces to humans. That is why she wears the mask. He mentally pats himself on the back. He and Lily had rehearsed this cover story a dozen times. The voice-modulating mask was just the icing on the cake. But here's the catch. If that mask is removed, it immediately triggers a polymorph spell, turning the target into a cat. Lim watched closely, curious to see how Min would handle the realization that his theory was completely wrong. Suho tore into Min, demanding an immediate apology for his reckless behavior. Min bowed his head, apologizing profusely for removing her mask without consent, while Lim noted that Lily was playing the role of a confused feline a little too perfectly. Fast forward to the following day. Suho appeared across every television and radio channel, declaring a state of national emergency. He stood grimly at the podium, announcing that the country was facing an unprecedented crisis. Confusion rippled through Korea initially, but the populace adapted with surprising speed, placing their faith in the military and the superhuman police forces now patrolling the streets. The guilds mobilized immediately, launching large-scale military exercises. Amidst the chaos, an officer approached Lim, mentioning a rumor that the sage was planning to depart today. Lim confirmed the rumor, explaining that the mana required for his dimensional transfer magic was running critically low. He promised to return in a few hours, prompting the man to ask if he could make a humble request before the sage vanished. Lim agreed, promising to do his best. The officer gestured to a pile of old texts, explaining that these books were confiscated as loot during the suppression of the recent uprising. He added that he had only brought the ones in decent condition, and asked if Lim could appraise them. The man apologized for the rush, noting that he did not have much time to spare. He simply wanted Lim to check if there were any hidden gems in the pile. Lim managed expectations immediately, warning the man not to expect miracles since he was not exactly an omniscient librarian. Lim wondered internally if these people saw him as a divine sage or just a useful tool. While he could speak any language, his reading literacy was strictly limited to the scripts of the Gaia continent and the Murim world. Specifically, he could only decipher texts related to martial arts or magic. As Lim casually flipped through the confiscated library, his eyes locked onto a title that made his heart skip a beat. The protagonist recognized it instantly: The Sword Emperor's Chronicles. The narrative was written from the first-person perspective of Nan Gong, the legendary figure known as the Sword Emperor. In the martial arts world, this man was revered as an incarnation of the sword itself. Lim checked the syntax; the language was authentic. He wondered if he was truly holding the original manuscript written by the legend himself. The officer noticed Lim's intensity and asked if there was an issue with the text. Lim was not 100% sure if the book was genuine, but he knew he needed to secure it for a thorough investigation. Putting on a serious face, Lim lied through his teeth, claiming the book appeared to be penned by a demon. He then asked the assistant if any weapons had been found with it, specifically a sword. Lim explained that the sword associated with this text would also contain a demon, one that lures its wielder into madness and harming innocents. The assistant panicked, promising to double-check the inventory immediately. Lim thought to himself that hitting the jackpot with the Heavenly Emperor sword would be too good to be true. Sure enough, the assistant returned to report that no sword was found, only the book and some tattered clothes. They had been recovered from a collapsed cave. Lim feigned relief but felt a twinge of disappointment. He told the assistant that since the book was dangerous, he would confiscate it personally to seal its evil away. He instructed the assistant to keep this a secret, as the king was already too busy with the crisis to be bothered with cursed books. The scene shifts to Lim settling in to read his prize. The chronicle began with the origin of the Sword Emperor, born as an illegitimate child in the Nangong clan. Despite his status, he was born with a martial arts talent bestowed directly by the heavens, yet he faced brutal discrimination for his lineage. After his mother passed away, Nangong was barred from even witnessing the clan's martial arts training. The clan emperor even stole the elixirs and techniques that rightfully belonged to him. Lim skimmed through this tragic backstory, uninterested in the drama. He only cared about the ending where the Sword Emperor, having become a grandmaster, lost to the heavenly demon, Tianma, in a split-second exchange. Suddenly, Lily popped up, interrupting his reading to ask what he was doing. She complained about being bored. Lim, not looking up, told her to go play by herself for a while since he wanted to finish studying these manuals before lunch. He suggested she grab a book if she was that bored, just as long as she did not disturb him. To his relief, the mischievous Lily darted off somewhere else. He shouted after her to come back in a little while, secretly celebrating the return of silence. Lim dove back into the text, though the dense writing was beginning to tire him out. Lim grumbled that the author talked too much. He was reading about the divine art of shattering the heavens, but he could not fathom why there was so much philosophical nonsense filling the pages. Finally, he reached the core techniques. The manual explained the concepts so simply that even a monkey could understand it. If you failed to grasp this, you had no business practicing martial arts. Lim realized he needed to read it repeatedly to fully absorb the nuance. Deciding to test it immediately, he crossed his legs and settled into a meditative lotus position. A crimson circle manifested in the center of his torso. Lim recalled that internal energy cultivation was typically divided into three fundamental categories: accumulation, the amount of energy stored in the dantian; stability, how smoothly that energy flows within the body; and radiation, the speed and explosive power with which the energy is projected outward. Lim analyzed the technique, realizing that while the Deha Simbap he had studied previously focused almost entirely on stability, this Pashon Simgong achieved a perfect harmony of all three aspects. It was, without exaggeration, a flawless, peerless cultivation method. Lim finally understood why martial artists in the Murim world staked their lives on obtaining such manuals. He decided he would master the basics right here and now. Glancing at the clock, he realized it was already past lunchtime, and wondered why Lily had not returned from her adventure. Suddenly, a disturbance in the mana caught his attention. Lim spun around, eyes widening as a massive dungeon gate tore open in the sky above the palace. Civilians below began screaming that a gate had opened. The panic escalated as monsters began to spill out. A towering minotaur was the first to crash land from the portal. The sheer size of the beast sent the crowd into a frenzy of terror. The minotaur raised a massive mace to crush the fleeing humans, but Lim intervened instantly, blocking the strike with a magical shield. He ordered the civilians to stay within his barrier until backup arrived. He shouted that his magic would hold the line. Internally, Lim was itching to test the power of the Pachon cultivation he had just learned. He realized that using high-tier magic might accidentally bring the entire palace collapsing down on their heads, so he decided to rely on physical reinforcement instead. As the Minotaur slammed its mace down, Lim leaped onto the beast's head. He unleashed a single, devastating punch, sending the massive creature flying through the air. However, the hero landed with a confused expression. He could not understand why the monster felt so incredibly fragile. He wondered if this was a defective Minotaur. The monster roared, recovering enough to swing at him again. Lim dodged the attack effortlessly, moving so fast the beast lost sight of him. Lim delivered a crushing blow to the Minotaur's leg, snapping it like a twig. It dawned on him then. The beast was not weak. He had simply become absurdly strong. He resolved to learn the other cultivation techniques as quickly as possible. Just then, Lily flew up to him, accompanied by the assistant he had spoken to earlier. Lim asked where she had been. Lily cheerfully replied that she had come back after lunch with some friends. Lim asked if she had actually made friends in this world. Suddenly, the portal pulsed, and a horde of minotaurs poured out. Lim sighed, realizing that while he wanted to avoid property damage to the palace, the sheer number of enemies left him little choice. Lim declared there was no other choice, his voice thundering as he commanded fire to rain down from the heavens, leaving the spectators in absolute awe. The future president called it a magnificent spell, vowing that in the distant future, a statue of the great sage would stand proudly in Guangwaman Square. When the smoke cleared and the hero stood victorious, Suho told Aximus he was eternally in his debt, but Lim simply replied that he did what had to be done. Desperate to stop the impending catastrophe, the hero begged for further assistance, while an assistant hurriedly approached Lim. He pleaded with Lim to accept a reward as a token of their gratitude. Lim feigned shock, acting as if he couldn't possibly take it, until they insisted he couldn't leave without it. Lim graciously thanked them, though internally he was frantically calculating the immense value of the high-quality magic stones he had just secured before deciding it was time to vanish. He deployed a shield spell, and he and Lily stepped onto it to fly away. The heroes watched them go, unaware that Lily's friend was actually one of the legendary titans. These were the first awakened ones. As Lim drifted into the distance, he wished them safety, and the heroes began their journey back home. Back at base, Lim asked Min if he had guarded the house. Min burst into tears of relief, asking where they had been, while Rice Cake chimed in that something terrible had occurred. Min explained that the rainbows in the sky were vanishing, a clear omen that disaster was about to strike, and the president had warned that hundreds of gates were opening. Hearing this apocalypse forecast, Lim and Lily just looked at each other and grinned like maniacs, confusing Min, who then added that Wang had rushed to the guild after the emergency call. Rice Cake asked to be notified when his brother returned, while Lim praised Min for staying put, admitting he actually expected the kid to run away in fear. But Min had waited loyally for the heroes. Touched by this, Lim told him to pack his bags immediately, his eyes shifting to the fading rainbow above. Realizing they had less than a week left before the end, Lim ordered everyone to head to the guild. Once there, Yunyue stormed up, Furious at Lim's disappearance, she screamed that she had tried to call him during the state of emergency, but his phone was off, cursing him out and demanding to know if he understood the gravity of the situation. Lim brushed her off, saying he had heard enough nagging on the way here. He turned around to see Min greeting Yunyue warmly. She mentioned they had met at the lake previously and hadn't seen each other since, before pivoting to ask where the team planned to evacuate. Lim ignored the evacuation talk and asked if there was a spare room, stating he wouldn't be staying long, while Yunyue asked if he had just come from behind the gate. She offered to get someone to escort him, but insisted he go meet the guild head first. However, Lim completely disregarded her advice. He ignored her and ordered Sir Deok to move his luggage so he could rest, prompting Yunyue to snap that Lim was the only one who had ignored the emergency summons. She warned that the head would be furious, but Lim retorted that the head wouldn't be mad if people respected weekends. Suddenly, Wang burst into the room. Lim asked where Wang had been, but the big man suddenly roared, calling out "Commander," and launching a tackle that Lim barely managed to dodge, asking if he had lost his mind. Wang broke down, sobbing, confessing he attacked out of sheer joy because he thought Lim had abandoned him. Lim sighed, reassuring him that no matter how much the world hated him, Lim would never leave him behind. Wang beamed with happiness, while Lim secretly noted that Wang was far too useful as a meat shield to ever discard. Eventually, the team reported to the head's office. The chief invited them to sit, while Yang noted that Lim had been outside the forbidden territory, which Chan dismissed as no excuse. The chief grilled Lim on what he knew about the coming disaster. Lim lied that he heard rumors on the road, but Chan revealed that the great sage Aximus had contacted him personally. Aximus had delivered a prophecy about the seventh night, instructing Chan to leave the leadership to the Wheel of Fate, who would bring the light. Chan interpreted this to mean Lim's team was the chosen one. Everyone nodded in agreement, and Lim felt a slight twinge of guilt for manipulating them so thoroughly. Lim seized the moment, proposing that if the invasion begins, the 7th Squad should conduct a solo operation, assuring them that he had everything under control. He argued that defending designated spots was a waste of time. It was more efficient to empower a strike team to act independently and destroy the source. He explained that the Night of the Seven Moons catastrophe was driven by 7 specific moon-colored gates hidden among the hundreds of others. These were the roots. If the main moon gate was destroyed, it would cause dozens of the surrounding lesser gates to vanish instantly. Lim, disguised as Aximus, had already conveniently provided the guild with the coordinates for 6 of these crucial gates. A flashback revealed the truth. Aximus had told Chan he couldn't handle the red energy or locate the final gate. Chan had accepted this, grateful for the help he did get. But in reality, the only reason Aximus withheld the location of the red gate was so Lim could claim the soul stone inside for himself. Lim thought to himself that this was his chance to finally achieve his dream transformation. While Chan noted he had reached the same conclusion about the strategy, Chan wondered if the prophecy was truly that straightforward. Yunyue suspected a hidden meaning, and Wang complained that it was too abstract to understand. Lim felt the awkward tension and quickly interjected, asking why a benevolent sage would make a prophecy difficult if he wanted to help, insisting they shouldn't twist the words. His persuasion worked. The 7th Squad was granted full autonomy for the operation, and 3 days of preparation flew by. At the White House training grounds, Lim was trying to teach Wang, asking if he could recall the specific path the mana was taking through his body. Wang blankly admitted he didn't remember, so Lim sighed and told him to focus this time as he prepared to demonstrate the flow again. Lim was referencing the Diamond Power Fist from the Sword Emperor's records, a martial art focused on external strength, meaning the breathing technique was actually quite simple. He knew this would be enough to toughen Wang's body and build a foundation, asking once more if the big guy understood the concept. Wang sheepishly replied that he still didn't get it, leading to a frustrating loop of repetition until Lim finally snapped, screaming that this was the 30th attempt. Lim yelled that Wang was worse than a monkey, but Wang, undeterred, simply promised to keep practicing alone until he mastered it. Lim steps out with a heavy sense of purpose. He scans the horizon. Only the purple band remains in the rainbow. That can only mean one thing. Disaster is just around the corner. As he walks, he spots Lily happily devouring her food. "Does it taste good?" he asks. She nods enthusiastically. Lim had bought 3 whole boxes of chicken, but surprise, surprise, they are already history. "If you are done stuffing your face, get ready," Lim says sharply. "You need to work to pay for that meal." Lily freezes in shock, suddenly realizing the catch, so that is why he bought her all that chicken. Lim knows exactly what awaits them inside the Red Gate once the chaos begins. It is a hellscape filled with soaring flames and boiling lava, fraught with danger at every turn. To survive, they must move while suppressing their aura. But more importantly, defeating the boss requires a specific item, the Ice Dragon's Fang. Unfortunately for Lim, that artifact is locked away inside the Black Hound Guild headquarters. Lim's expression darkens as he considers the location. Of all places, the item had to be stored in his former workplace, the Black Hound Guild, a place of nightmares where he slaved away at 20 years old in his previous life. The working conditions were horrific, and the concept of work-life balance was non-existent. Vacation was a myth unless you were practically dying or injured. Lim reflects that if he had just taken time for knee rehabilitation back then, his entire life might have taken a different path, but the past is the past. Now, armed with sword energy, transformed by the Pachong technique, he focuses. He recalls every detail of the building's structure. Security cameras, vault locations, blind spots, he remembers it all. I found our way in, Lim mutters. Target acquired, the security control room. Inside, the guards are restless. Everyone else is heading to the shelters. Yet here we are stuck on duty, one complains. Thinking about it is driving me insane. I should have just robbed a grocery store or a department store, the other shouts in frustration. The blonde guard yells back, "Hey! You left the door open!" The moment the disaster starts, I am running as fast as I can to the shelter. They agree, but their panic quickly fades as the atmosphere shifts. They notice something is wrong. Why did the camera turn off? They squint at the monitors, assuming the lens is broken. Then, they check the feed's location. Pure shock hits them that camera is pointing right at their door. But it is too late. Lim bursts into the room and knocks them both out cold. "Sleep tight until morning," Lim whispers. It has been a long time since he stood in this room. Without hesitation, he slams the emergency alarm button. Sirens blare. The entire guild goes on high alert. Someone has invaded the representative's room. But then, a voice comes over the intercom. It is Lim. He spins a lie instantly. 4 armed intruders. They do not appear to be superhumans. He orders them to evacuate all staff. Straight to the representative's office. The guild members scramble, rushing the location in a panic. But when they kick down the door, empty. They realize too late, the control room door is now locked from the inside. Lim's voice returns, mocking them. The intruder has been captured. He figures, if they are going to be stuck there, they might get bored. So, he blasts some music over the speakers for them. With the guards distracted, Lim and Lily smash through a secure door deep in the facility. Lim sighs, thinking about how running a guild is always a headache. Lily, however, is mesmerized. She stares at the glittering treasures around them. "Everything is sparkling. Is all of this money? Can I have a chicken with this?" she asks. Lim shakes his head, confused by her obsession. He grabs a massive statue, but grimaces it is unnecessarily heavy. He has nowhere to put it, so he leaves it. "Forget that," he says. "Check the special armory. This is where the guild hoards otherworldly items with unknown purposes. This is it." Lim smiles. The Ice Dragon's Fang is sitting there, perfectly preserved. The hero decides it is time to bug out. But Lily hesitates. "Can we go over there?" she asks, pointing at a blank wall. "I am curious to see what is inside. There is a massive amount of mana behind that wall," she says. Lim trusts her instincts. "Step back," he warns. He winds up and delivers a crushing blow, obliterating the wall. As the dust settles, Lim's eyes widen at the treasure revealed. He grins at Lily. "Good catch. As a bonus, you get 3 raw cheese balls." Lim decides he will consume the next soul stone they find, so he tosses this one to Lily. "You can eat this one," he says. Though he is a bit annoyed, it does not seem to change much. He wonders if she actually absorbed it. The only visible change is that her claws have grown slightly. "Well," Lim shrugs. "Consider that my unpaid severance package. Time to go home." By the next day, the ominous rainbow has vanished from the sky. But Lily, she is only worried about one thing, her cheese balls.